is Gareth as a child your lock screen?
Because I thought he'd find it really creepy.
It is creepy. It's really creepy, and I'm not Gareth.
That's great, we're talking about E3. We can't afford to hire big names, so here's Bouncy, Ball and Duff again. Microsoft conference, listen to your guts, churn, read it up for 6, if that you're not sick, punch it up with Halo 5, God no, go home, rise of the Tomb Raider with a theory might be shut. Nintendo at the end, they have less than 7 games, spend a like half the higher, will they do it right? Sonic sequel coming in a hurry with the furries breathing down your neck. Team by team reporters trample pride, jump off, hashtag Gamergate, sci-fi, Ubisoft, Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, Battle save themselves, serve them right, Square steps its own needs, listen to the fans, please tell us about the fallout or just cause be alright. It's tragic comic, West Harmonics, give us rock fans so we can call it a night. We are the Rolling not relevant anymore. We are the Rolling not relevant anymore. We are the Rolling not relevant anymore. We feel fine.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, we're back in the house.
Yeah.
Not outside in the garden. It's
No.
too bloody sunny.
Well, yeah, you're complaining about the sunshine.
I've not been outside this house. Well, until you got here, and then I felt obliged to put some rubbish in a bin.
You're really doing your part for the view of bloggers and gamers everywhere.
It's summer out. I've shut the curtain as well.
I know.
While I'm sat here, I'm not having the sun on me. I'm at the back of the house, but there's no sunshine at all. But, yeah, summer can fuck off. I'm waiting for the storms tomorrow. I'm going out tomorrow, and it's supposed to be raining all day.
Is it?
That'll be ideal for me.
That's not what Emma told me, and she's a weather nerd.
Oh,
It's supposed to be nice tomorrow.
well, I don't want it to be nice. I want it to be wet and miserable like it was last Friday. All the thunder and stuff like that.
Oh.
I hate summer with a passion.
Why?
Because the sun shines.
Is that it? Is that your sole reason?
And it's hot as a result, and people start wearing very little clothing, and frankly, I just think that's outrageous.
Why is that outrageous?
Because I don't mind it at a beach, because that's a leisure activity.
Right.
Be comfortable. Walking through Wisbech Town Centre,
Right.
don't need to have your shirt off, do you? You go into the shops. I hate people going into, say, like going to a supermarket
Right.
with shirt off, standing in a fresh produce section.
Right.
No.
Right.
Sweat everywhere, dripping all over my tomatoes I don't buy.
Yeah. It's higher 24 tomorrow now.
Oh, what about Wisbech?
I'm just using the local Wi-Fi.
I doubt it'd be much different.
Wi-Fi.
10 minutes down the road, is it really?
I can't imagine it would be wildly different.
And do you know what? If I went out with one of those umbrellas to create permanent shade, I'd be the weird one. But if I went out without my shirt on and with fat man tits flapping about, people would be like, "Oh, progressive man, look at you, good old boy," and other people would be like, "Oh," and then I'd be like, "Well, I can't now go in any shops because I might sweat on a tomato."
Going to the shop doesn't smell tomatoes.
I don't want to go into a shop to buy tomatoes at all. I need to go to work tomorrow.
All right. Well, there you go.
And that's night time. I could probably stay in until 6. Might cool down by then.
It might. Normally does.
Just hate summer, Rob. Hate it. Every year I hate summer. Last year was all right because it wasn't very nice. It was a bit cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I
Britain.
preferred that. Normally, with summer, what I would do is I would get what I call the summer video game. So Fallout 3 was one, yeah?
Right.
I played that for 128 hours in 12 days.
Well done.
By just saying, fuck the sunshine, I'm staying on the console. And that's all I did. I woke up in the morning, gave the kids a breakfast, played, gave the kids a lunch, played, gave the kids a tea, played for a bit, put them to bed, played, went to bed.
Yeah.
All I did for 10 straight days. I was
Oh.
just like, no, not going out there. Don't have to. Now schools don't have to school runs. But now, single bloody bloke, not single bloke, but living on my own bloke, got to pay bills, got to go out in that.
Yeah.
And I don't drive, so I have to walk in that.
I think you yourself from those fan things that looks like a ping pong bat. All those hats
fan.
with the fan built in it.
I did consider that. I have got a camelback.
Right.
Not an actual
Camel
camel's
to go on
back,
your back.
but one of those backpacks.
With the water,
straws.
yeah.
I did consider just putting that in a backpack, and then just having that. But it's not enough. It's not enough. It's E3 next week.
Right.
And at this rate, I'm not going to be in the mood for it because I'm grumpy.
You'd have to leave the house to watch E3.
I've got to work on Monday, so I missed some of it.
Huh.
I work until 6 on Monday, so I'll miss
Catch up. The Bethesda ones are like 2 a.m. out.
I know. So when I get back, I'll be able to catch up on the earlier ones and then watch the newer ones. Because I think it's like very early in the morning, and then it's like starts normally
Bethesda,
about 2 o'clock in the
I think,
afternoon onwards.
Is of the big ones. Bethesda's like the early hours of Sunday morning for us.
Yeah.
I did post it on. Well, no, I've put it in the article I'm writing at the moment about E3, which should be out by the time this goes out. We'll reference that more later. But a lot of the other ones are sort of mid-late afternoon our time, so 5-ish, 6-ish, which is rubbish for me Monday, Tuesday, because I'll be at work till 6. But then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm off, so I might be able to actually watch them live,
Like I say,
which is lovely.
On the plus side, well, most of them finish on Tuesday conference-wise.
They do, that's
but
true.
most of them now are fully archived. So you can
the
watch
catch-ups
it.
are always
like,
there.
I was talking to my partner about it, because obviously she's not into games. And I was saying, when I was growing up, all I knew about games from E3 were what ended up in a magazine at the end of them. Then it was live blogging. Then it was video trailers and blogging. Then it was sketchy, stuttery stream video and blogging. Now you can pretty much watch in full HD on your TV in your lounge at a conference.
I found an old copy of 360 Gamer the other day from E3 2010 special.
Yeah?
Lovely.
My friend used to write for that one.
Yeah?
Gareth Williams. Oh. He might have been still writing on it then. I think he was.
I'm not sure.
Have a look in the staff column.
Yeah.
If he's there, you can go, that's knows him. He once put Consoles and Conkers as when we did Consoles and Conkers, he put us in that magazine as an up-and-coming thing. And there's a guy who did a website called the Triforce,
right?
Simon Byron. He's very well regarded. He'd heard of us and thought we were very good.
Yeah. I think I got a mention in there. They did a section, my favourite achievement. I did one for whichever NHL it was that year. I broke Wayne Gretzky's single-season points record with my PS5.
I thought you broke his leg or something.
Yeah, I broke Wayne Gretzky. They just put a picture of me standing over him with an axe.
I was reading the news about the sequel to Goon being in production now.
Yep.
And a lot of people were like, what? That was a terrible film. And I was like, what are you fucking mental? It starts with Liv Schreiber having an argument, getting a bloke to just tap him with a stick so he could throw his gloves off, and then it's just a shot of blood dropping onto an ice rink, and then a tooth falling down. And that's how any film should start like that. Yeah. Just Liv Schreiber though, no doubt. Like, even if it's
anybody else would be
Mary Poppins, it has to be
completely out of place if that was Patrick Stewart.
Daniel Day-Lewis, not Daniel Day-Lewis.
Julie Andrews?
No, the bloke.
From Mary
Dick
Poppins?
Van Dyke.
All right, Dick Van Dyke.
Daniel Day-Lewis to Dick Van Dyke. It's 3 names.
Yeah.
I'm traumatised because Christopher Lee died.
Yeah, it's very sad.
And Dusty Rhodes.
Has he died as well?
He died as well today.
That. Oh.
That's the same day.
That's
and the guy who played Fagin.
Yes, I saw that one.
In one day, 3 people, all of whom terrified me at one point in my life. I mean, Christopher Lee, 93.
Yeah.
But still, people were genuinely shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think it's because he's done, even up till quite recently, the Star Wars films aren't that old, and he was Count Dooku.
And the Hobbits as well, he was in those, wasn't he?
So he's obviously been working up to very recently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it struck me, actually, the day I saw that he was not, it was something else about him or classic actors, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart. And he was in there, and it sort of struck me when they said Christopher Lee, 93. It's like, Christ. But of course, when you look back, it's like, well, yeah, he was in things like Man with the Golden Gun and the original Wicker Man, or the proper Wicker Man.
Roger Moore was saying that it's very sad when an old friend passes. It's when Christopher Lee was one of his oldest because they first met in 1948. And you then just think, okay, they were in Bond together in the 73, I think. But they'd known each other for 25 years before that. And I like the fact that even right up to his death, Christopher Lee never talked about what he did with the SAS in World War II.
Yeah.
He was just like, I had some dealings with the Special Forces and we'll leave it at that. It was like, oh, I love that. And do you know his reason? It wasn't like on moral grounds. Yeah. It was never made clear to him what he was allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
He was told that he wasn't allowed to talk about it, but he was never told when that
The official
have it
sequence.
ended. Now, obviously, 50 years, usually, you can talk about whatever you want. But he was like, no, I'm not talking about anything before, during, or since. And I just thought that's a really kind of cool thing, really, that you just... Because most people nowadays, they'd be like, yeah, I did this thing, I did this. And if it's Chris Ryan, or random it now, they've turned into about 27 different books and TV series by now, and then just walked around with a black bar permanently etched on his face. But instead, he just did what he did and moved on, and he was a fine actor.
He was.
And I shall definitely be watching The Wicker Man this evening, as I usually do anyway, after a podcast.
On a Thursday night.
But I do watch it at least twice a month. So I said to someone earlier I was going to watch it, and they went, which version? And I went, I don't know. And they went, what do you mean you don't know? I was like, well, it's theatrical and director's cut, isn't it?
Really?
It's like, I thought you were on about Nicolas Cage. It's like, you fucking idiot. Christopher Lee wasn't in the one with Nicolas Cage. So, yeah, anyway, this is episode 22. Hello, folks. We got a bit carried away there, talking about how grumpy I am. And I've got caffeine headaches as well, which hasn't put me in a good mood.
Is that why you got to stop off and try and buy Coke on the way?
Yeah, well, I struggle. There's a shop just down the road that I could get it from, but it would mean walking in that for 10 minutes, and I'm not going out there.
I was scrabbling around in my car trying to find a quid's worth of change to buy a bottle of Coke, and there's a shop round the corner.
Well, it's just... When I asked you where we were recording, I was desperately hoping we had agreed to record here, because I didn't want to have to come out. I was going to come up with an excuse, like I'd broken a finger or something, I couldn't leave the house, or lost my keys.
I like your excuse earlier, I'm in the bath. Is that your excuse? I can't possibly. I have to record it while I'm in the bath. I have to yell out the door at you.
I can't go to the shop because I'm in a bath of porridge. Anyway, this is episode 22, which I've for some reason called Sofa Now. I don't know why.
I assume there's some witty joke in there.
The only thing I could think of that relates to that is it vaguely resembles a lyric from Little Shop of Horrors. No relevance to anything on that running order whatsoever.
No.
So, I've got no idea what I was drinking at the time. So, this week we're going to be talking about what we've been up to, or now as all the cool kids calling it, Wahooabata. Then I'm going to be talking about Keith Chegwin.
Yep.
And then we're going to talk about Sex Talks about apps.
Yep.
Then we're going to do some news, including our lovely new little piece of audio that's replaced Chris Morris's This Is the News.
That fucking time.
Have you not heard it?
No.
It's a brilliant clip that's an Australian newsreader or journalist in a library.
Right.
And he's going, and they're cutting supplies, and the bloke stands up and goes, will you shut the fuck up? And the bloke goes, it's a fucking library. And the newsreader goes, it's the fucking news, mate. And carries on live on air.
Brilliant.
It's amazing. So that's now our news klaxon. And in there, we'll be talking about some old games, some new games, and some departures.
Yep.
Then you are going to be talking about, well, E3 generally.
Yeah.
And we're going to be pulling in the big plate
on
that as well. So, yeah, it's quite a packed show, but we hope we're going to keep it nice and trim, despite the 25 minutes talking about the sunshine. I don't even praise the sun. That's a Dark Souls thing.
Yeah.
Never played it.
Oh.
I own it. Never played it. Frightened of it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
It's supposed to be quite tricky.
Oh, right.
I don't deal well with hard games.
Oh.
If I like them to the point where I want to get through it, fine. But I look at it and I just think, there's nothing there to appeal.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will go to it one day. Especially with the news that Dark Souls 3 should be announced at E3 for next year.
Yeah.
And Dark Souls 2, the first of the old school, or whatever it's called, is out on Xbox One now. And obviously with all the exciting stuff that Bloodborne's been getting, I should really try and get into it, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let's crack on with what we've been up to. Or as I said before, Richard Herring reference there.
Yeah.
Anyone's listening, there you go. You should listen to his theatre podcast. They're amazing. He interviews Bob Mortimer this week on the show. He has a comedian on.
Yep.
And then he just interviews them. That's his podcast.
Yeah.
And he did a Kickstarter, so now he puts them out as video podcasts as well.
Oh.
And it's very good because normally comedians are interviewed by somebody who don't really understand comedy. Or someone who's got an agenda, or they're trying to promote something.
Yeah.
He just has somebody on because he's asked them.
Yeah.
And I like that more.
Yeah. A lot of them, even when they're on the panel shows and things, tend to coincide with a tour coming up,
Exactly.
or a book or a DVD.
Yeah,
or
I mean, Bob
some
Mortimer's
bullshit.
got a tour coming up, which I didn't know about until this. 25 years of being with Vic Reeves,
Yeah.
they're doing a live tour, which I thought was quite a cool thing. But he was talking about, there was an episode of Shooting the Stars recently where he had one of the dancers from Strictly Come Dancing on, the Australian one.
The male one?
Yeah.
Brendan something?
Brendan Cole. And apparently he was a real arsehole during the filming. So at the end, they had him as the forfeit game.
Right.
So they had him lie down, and then they dropped bits of picnic onto him. So
Right.
they started off with naan bread. Then they had like a panettone bread, Italian bread. And then they had a full Edam, like a big ball of Edam.
Right.
And the idea was he'd show it, then they'd put it back in the bag and get out a fake one.
Right.
He pissed Bob Mortimer off so much he didn't even get the fake one out at all.
Right.
And he made sure the guy had his head laid on the table properly before he dropped it. And you can see, watching the video back, knowing what you know, you can see he's genuinely thinking, oh, this is going to be so good. And so I watched the clip after he talked about it, and it made that so much better. So those interviews are great for that.
Yep.
And also because Rich Herring's a very, very kind of prolific podcaster. He does a lot.
Yeah.
He does one called Me One versus Me Two, where he basically plays snooker against himself and provides commentary as a podcast.
Yeah.
It's not many people can pull that off. He can't either, but
bravo for trying.
Tries his best, and he's now on the second or third series of that. So anyway, what have we been up to this week? Well, Rob, it says here you've been playing Fallout New Vegas.
Yes. Obviously, we talked about Fallout 4 on last week's show, and we're both very excited for that and what Bethesda might show us on Sunday or stroke Monday morning our time at their E3 conference, their first one, which I'm sure we'll touch on a little bit more later in the show. But it kind of inspired me to dig out one of the old Fallout games. I pondered which to do, 3 or New Vegas. I thought, fuck it, I'll mop up some achievements on New Vegas.
So was that your big push, the achievements was your motivator then?
I think I just wanted to play Fallout again, and it's kind of like, which one do I want to play?
Yeah.
Well, I know I started a New Vegas playthrough a while ago, I can't remember when, to go after those achievements specifically. And I thought, well, I might as well just pick up where I left off with that. So
it surprised me, I'll be honest.
When you turned it on, continue, loaded up, played for 2-3 hours, and it completely froze twice. And it was juddery as hell, and a little bit frustrated with that, I've got to be honest.
Do you think that's because it's an old save?
I
Or
don't
do you
know.
think that's just
Should
game?
an
Because the
old
games-
save matter?
Well, I just sometimes think that those games never ran beautifully anyway.
No, they didn't.
And
But my experience was never as brutal as some other people's seemed to be. So I don't know if this is just karma, where I got away with it early on, and now I'm getting all the
and
shit.
you laughed at everyone else.
I didn't
Particularly
laugh as much, 'cause I came
PlayStation
across glitches, but
Yeah,
it was just, I think it froze about an hour in, just as I was walking up some steps.
right.
I'm like, oh great. Then thankfully, the second freeze, I was just about to finish for the night anyway. I was going to go into a room, stash a load of junk, and then save it there and carry on. And it froze as I went through the door. I'm like, oh. So yeah,
I'm trying to think.
but I'll have an autosave as I enter that
Have you got the
building.
DLC for New Vegas?
I have got them all.
Because it was Old World Blues.
Yes,
Well, was the Pit New Vegas, or was that
and the
3?
pit was Fallout 3. The Divide was New Vegas.
Right, yes.
And what was the one in the canyon with Joshua Graham?
That was that religious-y thing, wasn't it?
Zion, Evacuation of Zion. Completely forgotten what the actual DLC was called.
Because the thing is, with Fallout 3, I remember all of it. Absolutely.
Right.
All the DLC for it.
Yep.
I remember the Pit.
I remember all the stuff. I just can't remember the DLC's called. I remember New Vegas well enough.
But with New Vegas, I'm not entirely sure I ever played them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I played the story dozens of times.
Yeah.
Not dozens of times, but at least 3 or 4 times to get different engines and what have you. I don't ever remember playing any DLCs. But my plan is to play, once they announce the release date, I'm then going to play 3 and New Vegas through.
Right.
But I want to wait until they're doing that and release
So
date.
I'll
So if they say
probably
next
have
year,
to start them again anyway to mop up some of the other achievements, like being an evil bastard in Fallout 3. And do the Legion quests on New Vegas. I always kind of ended up siding with the NCR or sitting somewhere in the middle.
I think I went both. I went one where I sided with the NC Army. You have to attack the dam, don't you? And another one, I went with Mr. House. Is it Mr. House?
Yeah.
And I went on his side. And
because you've also got the one with the Sierra Madre.
Don't think I ever did that.
Again, I forgot what the actual DLC was called, but I remember playing it because
I just remembered Matthew Perry was the guy, Benny, wasn't he? In
Matthew
Vegas?
Perry?
Yeah, I believe so. Chandler Bing.
Maybe.
Let me check. Keep going.
But yeah, no, because I remember the DLCs pretty much all came while I was playing my hardcore playthrough.
Right.
Which actually wasn't too bad once I started accumulating food and water. Wasn't as brutal as it might have sounded.
No.
Because then you start to get a bit savvy with the battle action sequences to try and preserve health, and if you get hit, to try and get yourself into a corner where you can replenish some health before you get battered again. But I remember the Sierra Madre one was a pain in the arse because that acrid air, smoke, whatever the piss it was, and that was a pain in the arse because you had to like hide in buildings and really leg it rather than be able to actually explore. It kind of frustrated me. So yeah, there must have been 4 bits for New Vegas.
Yeah.
Sierra Madre, Old World Blues. The Divide was the last one where you met the other courier. And
6 things came out. Dead Money.
Yeah, that was Sierra Madre one.
Honest Hearts.
That was the one with Joshua Graham.
Old World Blues.
That was the
Lonesome Road.
That was the Divide.
And then Gunrunner's Arsenal and Courier Stash, which is weapons.
They were like little bonus packs.
Yeah. So they would go through, and they came out. So yeah, so I'm trying to find the thing about the cast, but
I need to
no mention of the cast. Yeah, probably. But what I also found interesting, because I was talking about this with my partner about how Fallout was not my favourite franchise,
right?
And I've got the tin edition of Fallout 3.
I got the lunchbox and the bobblehead.
But I never got the PlayStation.
It was Matthew Perry, you're right.
And was it Benny who played?
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. And
can't remember the name of anything else.
Chris Christopherson was in it as Chief Hanlon. Ron Perlman, obviously.
Yeah.
Zachary Levy was Arcade Gannon.
That's Jim's dad, isn't it?
That's
Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
Zachary Levy was Eugene in Tangled, but he's probably best known for Chuck.
Yes.
That's what he's best known as.
Yeah.
William Sadler, who was the villain in Die Hard 2, if I remember right.
Yeah, he was.
Victor, the voice of Victor.
But don't spoil it, though, because you don't know that if you've not watched Die Hard 2 all the way through. You think he's a good guy.
If you haven't watched it by this point, bollocks to you.
That's true. Fuck off. Stop listening to amazing podcasts like this.
Michael Dorn was in it. Danny Trejo did some voice work in it.
If you're interested in
Michael Hogan, who does loads of stuff.
Was it on the voice list? You can find it on IMDb.
Okay.
But Rob's quite amazed at
that.
Sometimes you'll get that. If you look at Skylanders Swap Force, look at the cast list for that. It's amazing. But I hadn't got the PlayStation list. Now, I remember when it came out, it was a beautiful collection. It had the lucky coin, the big coin.
It had a deck of cards, lucky coins, some actual poker chips.
Poker chips from each of the casinos. The soundtrack.
Yep.
An art book and a making of.
And it was ridiculously expensive, if I remember right.
It was, and I'm wondering whether that was the only reason. So I thought, I'll get that now. Because,
that was my reason for not buying it.
And I thought, the tin edition still gets about 30, 40 quid. But I thought, 30, 40 quid now for a collector's edition that's been out for a few years, I don't mind that so much.
Yeah.
It was at 70, 80 quid, I'm sure, at the time.
I bought the Fallout 3 Collectors with the lunchbox for 50 quid from Seventh Heaven in town.
Yeah.
On launch day. I think that was the only one they had on the shelf, and I literally went, I was just going to buy the game. I'm like,
Well, I bought the game just on its own, because I didn't like Fallout 3. I liked Fallout 1.
Yep.
I didn't really get on too well with Fallout 2. Tactics did nothing for me. Brothers of Steel did not much for me.
Brothers of Steel was terrible.
But I played them and I owned them. Fallout 3, I kept getting told it was amazing, and I got it bought for me at launch as a birthday present. And I played it with 2 friends sat there, and I just was bored as hell. Because when you're playing a game like that, and you've got friends saying, "I'll do this, do that," your choices don't mean anything to you. And the start of Fallout 3, that's your time to really acclimatise yourself.
Yeah.
And I rushed it. Basically, I managed to shoot everything in the vault that I could, and it all went to hell, and I didn't enjoy it. And I didn't play it again until that Christmas.
Right.
And then over the Christmas break, I just absolutely rinsed it, loved it. And I went into Game Station in Kings Lynn, when it was still properly Game Station. It had the guy with the mohawk. And they had the PS3 tin edition for £10 second hand.
That's incredibly good value.
And so I thought, okay. And the only real difference was the making of was on a Blu-ray. which is better actually, because, Blu-ray. So, other than that, I took the game out, traded that straight in against it, got £4 for the game, so it cost me £6 for the tin. And and I always wanted to use it as a lunchbox, but I was always terrified I'd damage it.
Same.
So
it now sits on the TV stand next to the Xbox.
I've seen yours. Mine's in a big box at my mum's house, written with Nerd Shelf written on it, which is all my really rare and hard to find stuff that I got out of my last house as quickly as possible. Yeah. Before I'd even moved out, I was like, just take it! It was like putting it in a vault itself. It was like,
just in the car running, you were just lobbing stuff out the top window into the boot.
All my fighting fantasy books went in, all of my graphic novels and comics went in, and all of my nerd collectibles went in. And it was just like, I don't want any of this getting thrown or smashed or destroyed. So I don't actually have it here. But yeah, so I went to try and get New Vegas limited edition on eBay. £100! Not including the game. And I was like, yeah, you're alright. As much as I want it, I'll wait until someone mislists it or I see it.
We've talked about this a little bit before. I just find it insane how the prices in these collector's editions have spiralled. And the stuff you get. What did we get with Fallout 3? You've got the lunchbox, the bobblehead, an art book.
A making of.
And a making of.
Yeah.
And the making of just came in a little cardboard sleeve.
Yeah.
Nothing swanky.
No.
And that was, as I say, I bought it, I think it was 50 or £55. Which was only £5 or £10 more than the standalone game on the day. Because they were literally on the shelf next to each other.
And that's, I was going to say, 7 Heaven, which is an independent store with Beach, and they would charge £45 for a new game.
And this was literally launch day. And they dropped their prices pretty reasonably normally. So, I was happy to pay that extra £5 or £10 because, lunchbox. That alone was like, and I had the disposable income to do it. But then, like you say, New Vegas was what, 70, 80? Look at the Destiny Ghost Edition was over £100. And there was some cool stuff in there. The model Ghost and things, but it's just an insane amount of money. Especially some of the people who bought that would probably be pushing 150, £200 on Destiny if they bought the DLC. Oh no, they got it in the pack, didn't they? So that makes less. Well, no, it doesn't make it better, but they haven't paid the DLC on top. So my maths is wrong there. But it's still an insane amount of money. Bits. Well, yeah, fine. You know what I mean.
Beyond that,
but it's just insane the way these special editions are gone, and then you've got these like game exclusive DLC characters. And
they can fuck off.
But then we also live in a world where the Sex Pistols logo is now on a credit card, so I don't know.
Yeah, I did put that on the roller course feed. I was in a car at the time that popped up. I was just checking my phone. I was like, oh, fuck off. It was worse than Country Life Butter.
It was.
I didn't think anything could get worse than Country Life Butter for the
I like what somebody put a picture. I think the Sex Pistols official account, Twitter account, tweeted out the pictures. And they were like, great to work with Virgin Money, blah, blah, blah. And somebody put, is this your Krusty the Clown moment? And there's just a picture of him at Camp Krusty in front of Bart crying, going, they backed a dog trunk full of money up to my house. And I thought that was very apt.
Yeah, the Facebook group for Sex Pistols said it was nice for Virgin Money to have recognition for the Sex Pistols. I was like, that's not what they're doing. If that's what you're thinking, really not what they're doing. What they want is to sell a load of credit cards to people who think that the Sex Pistols are still cool. And they're not cool. The only reason anybody would want one of those credit cards is to have the word bollocks on a credit card, and they shouldn't be old enough to have a credit card if that's what they think cool. Don't get me wrong, the Sex Pistols at the time were very important, like musically, and I know for some people of a certain age, of a certain background, they were an absolute mainstay of their childhood or teen years or whatever. Either way, I know people who are massive into Sex Pistols who will not be even considering this. I just don't get what the market is. Is that couple that you're looking at there? The Christian couple who said they'll get divorced if gay marriage gets put through.
Well, Dalek's insisted we give a shout out to the Twitter account Get in the Sea.
Yeah, I've had this week, Get in the Sea.
You've been told to Get in the Sea, or you've been looking at the Twitter feed?
I've seen the Twitter feed get retweeted around. Yeah. It's basically, I think it is just at Get in the Sea.
Yes, it is, yeah.
And it's basically things that should just get in the fucking sea.
Yeah. People being complete idiots, really.
One of my favourite insults in the world. Yeah. Like, oi, you, with the flip-flops on, get in the fucking sea. Actually, that's appropriate. You should wear flip-flops in the sea. Well, because you might tread on a crab or something. Well, you shouldn't be outside anyway, it's summer. Get inside. So I don't know whether the Fallout New Vegas thing's more expensive because Fallout 4 was announced and then suddenly everybody was looking for Fallout and I missed time looking for the Fallout Collector's Edition massively, terribly. I could have looked 6 months ago and nobody would have cared and it probably would have been £40. Yeah. But now, obviously, it's Fallout, put my thing onto the internet quickly. So I may have shot myself in the foot a little bit. But I will own those bloody playing cards because they are gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. I'll never play them, but I want them. And I want the lucky thingy, big chip, poker chip thing. That you have to
the lucky chip, yeah.
I want that as well, just as a paperweight. But yeah. But no, so you're going to continue through, or...?
I will try to. I've obviously got a Mass Effect game on the go, and Destiny I play weekly, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
So I'm going to chip a
I
bit in, but I just got so frustrated by the judderiness and the 2 freezes. I kind of look at it and think, do I want to? Because it's going to kind of tarnish the memory a little bit as well. So I've still got the DLCs to play again.
Yeah.
Because I haven't played it since I finished the hardcore mode. That was kind of why I dragged out the hardcore mode game, was to think Old Money came along. Dead Money, sorry. So it's like, oh, there's that. And obviously with the time it takes to get through the game anyway, it's like, well, I might as well drag this out. Use this playthrough to do all of them, which I did. And then I've just not gone back.
No.
So I'm sort of mopping up, as I say, mopping up the achievements and stuff. But it's kind of like, do I want to have to restart my Xbox every 2 hours to get through this? Which is probably another 50 hour playthrough.
Part of the authentic experience of a certain type of game, isn't it?
It is, but equally, do I really want to subject myself to that?
No.
Especially when, as I say, you've got things like Destiny, which you can play on a regular basis. Fallout 3 I could play again, probably. I probably will do like yourself when we've got more concrete information on release date and I can line it up. But I mean, I don't think I've even opened Arkham Knight. I've got other stuff I haven't finished. Other things I could play again. Not Arkham Knight. What was the last one? No, Origins. Sorry, not Arkham.
I was going to say, if you got Arkham Knight, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
If you could be on the press conference about telling me. Jesus.
Arkham Origins.
And you've got an Xbox One. You didn't tell me that, obviously. Crazy.
But yes, I don't know. I would like to think I can persevere, but if it happens like that again the next time I play, I might just use it as a frisbee.
Yeah, my intention is to play every Fallout game, one after another, leading up to 4. So
I have got 1, 2, and Tactics on a disc at home.
Yeah.
So I might try and install them on.
Okay, so I've got that. I've got the Brother to Steel, which I think works on the Xbox 360. I think it was on the compatible list, so I've got that as well. So yeah, it's... Yeah. If their disc's not worth, they're on Good Old Games and on Steam. You can pick them up anyway, quite cheap. Interplay, put them back out. Anyway, enough Fallout.
Yeah.
I've been playing a board game this week, well, a card game, Match Corey,
Yep.
which I talked about before. Really love it. I've recommended it to a lot of people now. A couple of people who live over in Spalding
Right.
put a thing out on Twitter saying, we want a tabletop game that's really easy for people to get into and super free players upwards. I was like, that's the one. That's brilliant, perfect, go for it. The same day, I recommended that to them, my Harbour expansion pack arrived.
Beautiful.
Now, I'd found this on a site that was selling it for $7.99.
Okay.
Retail price about 15 quid, so it was like as bargain as it was. Free postage, but it took about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get here.
Right.
I don't mind that. So it arrived, and I opened the box. Now, the first thing that struck me, the box was almost impossible to get into.
Okay.
I meant to have it here to see how quick you could get into the box without ripping it.
Right.
It took me, with just my bare hands, a good 6 minutes to get into the box.
Right.
It was absolutely insane. I've no idea how they ever expect people to just casually have it. You know, like normally you can lift the box up.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough weight in the box to pull down when the lid lifts up.
Right.
So you had to kind of break that seal,
Right.
but with your own bare hands.
Okay. So the vacuum effect.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I dare say I could have hung upside down off an aeroplane using that. So open it all up.
If you've not got enough weight in there, if you lift it up, then just really give it a shake.
There's nothing. There's only 60 cards and a bit of paper. That's it. So there's nothing to give it purchase. So I open it up. It's a new cards that basically you mix into your normal deck. It just gives you a bigger deck.
Okay.
That's the essential part of it. The big difference with the expansion is that it changes how you play the game.
Right.
Intrinsically.
Okay.
Without changing effectively how you play the game.
Okay.
So the original rule, because I don't think we've played it together yet, have we?
Nope.
Essentially, you lay out a grid of all the purchasable cards.
Okay.
And then you get coins and you take turns and you buy cards. A bit like Monopoly.
Yep.
With this one, you only ever have 8 individual businesses available.
Mm-hmm.
When one of those piles sells out, you've got like a draw pile and you replace
Okay.
whatever. And you keep drawing until you're back to 8.
Yep.
So you could essentially pick a double of that one, a double of that one. You're refilling that deck. What that does is it means if you play people like Postman Gav, who always build mines, because that's their strategy, he doesn't have anything else, he's a postman, it can stop that, because you can never get a mine. You might never get a mine come up.
Right.
So there is no, like, the problem with those sort of games is you get people who find a strategy that works almost 9 times out of 10, and they stick to it like a rock.
Right.
Well, this just immediately mixes it up. You have to be flexible on your strategies. And it levels the playing field brilliantly. And it's great. And it's what an expansion should do.
Right.
Because so many times it's just extra cards for a deck. And you think, well, yeah, that is an expansion. Like the Cards Against Humanity one's just extra cards. What this one does is it says, okay, well, now the game's been out for a little while. Let's see what criticisms we've got.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can't do a new play style. And it does it. And some people have criticised it. I dare say they're people that like having all their cards at start.
People who don't like change.
Exactly. But for me, I think it's now a tighter, even more interesting game.
Yep.
And if I was to teach somebody, I would just start with this edition.
Cool.
I wouldn't even entertain going back to the original now.
What we're talking about tabletop games, you had your Game of Thrones tabletop game that you bought from the charity shop.
Yep.
Emma and some friends tried to fathom it out. I went to Manchester for a night with another friend of mine, Dan, to see some people we know up there. So Emma had a games night,
right,
which we do periodically. And there was Hurley, I think Laura, Mel, Aidan may have been there as well. So a group of our friends who quite regularly play tabletop games. I can't remember if Emma said it took 60 minutes or 90 minutes before they gave up. Just trying to figure out how to play it. Just couldn't get their heads around it. And
well, it's funny you should say that, Rob, because if I bring up the Game of Thrones card edition reviews on Amazon, it's got, like, from people that play a lot of these games, like specifically this kind of game, really good reviews. Other people, not so much. Basically, there are 2 1-star reviews. Bought this for a Christmas... See if this sounds familiar.
Yep.
Bought this for a Christmas present. We spent a good hour trying to understand what on earth we were supposed to be doing with our uninspiring cutouts and bizarre instructions that don't relate to the set of cards supplied. We had no joy and gave up, feeling disappointed. Please don't bother. Make up your own game. It would be better.
Yeah.
So, and the other one is hilarious. Very disappointed with this item. Given as a gift to my 23-year-old daughter, who is very intelligent, not stupid, and neither she or any of their university-educated friends could fathom out the instructions. A complete waste of money. £25 for a set of cards you can just look at.
Huh. What did they do at university then?
Well, obviously not card games.
Well, university educators.
Nuclear
What do they do?
physics.
Communications.
It makes me rubbish. I can't do it. But yeah, it is. I did mean to say when I lent it to you, it might require
you told me about the university student review.
Yeah, and it's one of those games where this is why those watch it played websites exist. It's so that you can watch somebody else who's already figured it out.
Yeah.
Tell you something of the instructions.
Except this one just seemed to be a man crying. I don't know.
But I mean, I've read like loads of reviews of board games where they say the board game's fantastic, but the instruction manual is shit. Like, it doesn't tell you the game.
Yeah. And
you have to fathom it out from people who've played the game with the makers.
Yeah.
Who couldn't put into words.
So they've kind of pyramided out the knowledge.
Yeah, and I suppose it is difficult if you're coming up with a rule set to how to word that so it is effectively very clear.
Aren't all board game instructions inherently terrible anyway, though?
Well, you say that. There's a game that's just hit Kickstarter.
Right.
It's based on a game called Celebrities, which is basically like that game where you stick a name to
yeah.
But I can't remember the name.
I can't remember what it's called, yeah.
But yeah, so basically you get a card,
yep,
and you have to describe who you are, and they have to guess who you are.
Okay.
So they've done a game, and it's... I flipping can't remember now what it's called. Mother Flippers. Flipping Flip.
I hope it is called Mother Flippers.
No, it's not.
It should be.
It's... Anyway, so they've done a game, they did it on Kickstarter, and it's loads of things. It's not just people, it's objects as well, and now doing an add-on for that. And one of them is the original fleshlight. And you have to describe that to people.
Yeah.
And then, so the first round you have to describe it. Second round you're allowed to use one word.
Right.
To try and get people to guess what it is. And the third round you have to just do it as charades. But I can't remember what it's called at all. But I will find out. It's going to be on the blog because I'm going to write about it and why everybody should get it.
Awesome.
The expansion is standalone as well. So if you haven't got the original, which is hard to find over here, it's like £70. on Amazon. You can get it from America if you're willing to pay the import for
Yeah.
about £40. But the expansion is like $17,
Right,
including
okay.
postage. So you look at a tenner.
Yep.
And it's 120 cards, I think, in expansion.
Okay,
So
that's right.
there's enough there for a good few parties.
Yes.
And then if you like it, obviously get more. Anyways, by the by, I'll see if I can find out some way of cracking that Game of Thrones game, because it has some good reviews from people
Who've got into it.
who've got into it. Right. Destiny.
Yeah.
You've been playing Destiny.
I always play Destiny.
I've been playing Destiny.
You have?
You lot all got to, was it level 34?
Yes, I got
You all
the
got
piece of armour I needed to tip me over the edge.
I have played through some DLC missions
Mm.
with a real person.
Mm.
Welsh Beck.
Yes.
Or Chris, I think his name
Yep.
is. Yeah, that's his name. It started off a bit sketchy because I couldn't really hear him,
Right.
but he could hear me say, probably getting cross, like it is what normally happens when I can't be heard. So I just took my headset off, threw that across the room, turned the Kinect cameras, microphone on, turned the game volume down, sorted.
Nice.
No problem then. And his dulcet Welsh tones came through. I thought I was listening to Ivor the Engine. It was brilliant. And we had about 3 hours playing through a couple of Crota missions and a lot of House of Wolves missions.
Nice.
And I really enjoyed them.
Good.
Because the House of Wolves story missions are quite enjoyable.
They are quite enjoyable.
And after that, I then started hunting down the people
Yes.
who are some of the areas, and the Crota ones as well, the extermination missions for Crota,
Yep, with the Blades of Crota.
which I did all those on my own as well.
Nice.
And I'm now at that sufficient, I think I'm level 26,
Yeah.
I think now, so I'm high enough level to attempt the Vault of Glass.
That's going to be hard work, but you can attend.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to put together a team.
Yeah.
And most of the people who I dare say who would play it are probably going to be a lot higher level.
What we could do, potentially, is, I think, Welsh Beck is visiting the Flares, who I normally play with,
Yes.
later this year, July time.
Right.
So, get Destiny for your 360. And then we've got 5 people.
Play it in old visuals.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then there's 5 of us.
It's alright you
We
saying
can
that.
carry your ass.
That'd be like going from Blu-ray to VHS. I don't think I'll want to do it.
Alright, fuck you then. Do
No,
that, yeah.
I did talk to Beck about it, and I did say I have actually been looking for charity for second-hand shots. If I see it for a tenner, I'd buy it immediately.
Yeah.
Because it would mean I could jump in and play something. But yeah, I'm hoping to do Vault Glass in the next couple of weeks. I'm still trying to sort of push myself up another bit of a level, but it's so hard because I'm not getting the drops to get something. So like,
Your best bet is to sit in the on the Vanguard playlist and just get the marks up,
exactly,
and then go and buy stuff.
That's what I've done. I bought one item so far, and I used
Because the thing is, with the now House of Wolves is out, the gauntlets and the greaves and the chest armour you buy from the Vanguard handlers is all light 42 or at least light 36. 36, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, not 46, 36. And then stuff you can get out of the Prison of Elders is higher. So you're straight away at light 36 with your gloves or straight off the bat. And you're like, yay, there we go. And that'll push you up probably nearly a whole level, I would have thought, where you are at the moment. So, yeah. There you go, that's my advice.
So also, I need to ask you about Zer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what the bloody hell is this all about? Because doing the Crota missions, one of my missions from her is to get an urn or something from him.
Okay.
But he's not anywhere to be found.
He's only there Friday and Saturday.
So why have a mission that then doesn't make that clear? Because I spent 6 hours walking around that fucking hub looking for him, because on the internet it said sometimes he can appear anywhere he wants. So I thought, well, that's fair enough, but obviously if I've got a mission, he'll be here somewhere. They wouldn't tell me, here's a mission, but you won't be able to do it until bloody Friday. This was Monday.
Yeah.
Monday I got that mission.
Yeah.
He must have just left.
Yeah. Probably.
So
I left early hours of Sunday morning.
5 days waiting just to get a pot off him. And then it doesn't stop there because I accidentally saw the rest of that mission.
Yeah.
And it was like, go here, kill that, do this, collect the pot, go over there with the pot, do this. It's like ready, steady, cook.
It is.
But I'm not down on that. I'm a bit annoyed that is Like, I don't see why you put that as a mission until the day. Like, I wish it had just popped and said on Friday, this fish is available.
But then it's the same problem if you get to a certain point with an exotic piece of armour or weapon, you need the exotic shards. So unless you've got another exotic you can melt down to get that shard, you have to buy it from Xur, so you have to wait.
So how does that... So I've got strange coins and things.
Yep. Means you can buy things from Xur.
Okay, but I'm guessing it's not like one coin for one thing.
No.
It's going to be like a lot of coins.
They vary on price. I think armour and stuff's 13 coins.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to buy anything then. I've got like 6 coins. I think 1 coin is for the vase.
Okay.
Or whatever it's going to be. Pot.
See, that's where you're doing things like the weekly mission and stuff come in.
Yeah, see...
I've had quite a lot drop from the Prison of Elders as well. So again,
strikes,
when you get more powerful, you can do the prison.
The weekly strikes I can
drops
do, and the strike playlist I do a lot of.
Yep.
The daily and the DLC exclusive things, they're just a bit too high level for me to be able to do successfully and easily. I don't mind a challenge, but there's a difference between a challenge and a frustration.
The problem is for every level you are below the mission level, I think you do 33% less damage. I think it's 33%. So if you're at level 26, trying to do even 28, it's a fucking ball ache.
Yeah.
I noticed the difference on Prison of Elders. We did level 32 and level 34 prison earlier in the week with the flares, and instantly getting that boost to 34 via the armour core I bought at level 32. You notice the damage difference straight away. You feel like you're actually packing a punch again.
Yeah.
Because we had a go at it last week. It must have been last week, I think, or maybe the week before. And I felt like I was shooting a BB gun.
Yeah.
And you don't in that environment, because there's only 3 of you in that very tight arena, in some pretty hairy circumstances sometimes.
Especially with all these beards.
Exactly. You just don't feel like you're doing anything. You can't effectively fight.
Well, it's
difficult to just hide on those. It won't just let you hide.
No.
And so, that it makes all the difference.
This is something else that I've found. With the waves of wolves that leaves you with the ether chest, I think it's called. So Beck and I were on one when it appeared. I got through the first 3 waves, but then everything was too high level for me to do any damage.
Yep.
So we tried that, but we couldn't beat the guy before he
disappeared,
teleported away. So it was a bit disappointing, but at least I had an experience of it. But then I started getting the missions from the Queen's woman, who said, "Look, go and hunt this one down." So I went to the Cosmodrome one, and I sat and waited for it to spawn. And I charged her, and there was a level 33 already there, and then another character came in, and that character then just dropped out, so it was just 2 of us. So I really absolutely helped up to that point again, but then all I did was acted as a distraction.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do any damage, but I thought, well, if I keep lobbing grenades and stuff, he's not going to be able to kill that other guy. And so I ran around in circles around the car, basically, getting this wolf chasing around and around and around. And we plugged away, and he died.
Yep.
And the guy charged off, found the chest, shot me to say, chest's over here. Got there, couldn't open it because I wasn't at a high enough level. At the point that he died, I didn't get a key. Because I didn't contribute, essentially I didn't get a key. That's what the guy said. He was very disappointed.
No, that's that.
And he opened it, and it was open, and it still went, "You need a key." I was like, "It's fucking open! Why is it showing it open if I haven't got a key?"
I had that in a different zone. I was doing some bounties. Some of the guys at the other end of the area I was in finished off whoever it was, whichever. I think it was one of the servitors. I happened to stumble across where they were with the chest. It's like, I was like, of course, I didn't actually do anything. They did all the work, and I was down here piddling around doing this.
But I thought that's a bit unfair because I did help.
I don't know how it calculates.
So, so anyway, I thought, well, there's another motivator to get a high level. Just to get to that point where I can actually contribute and do a bit more. I'm actually now on the Bungie website because I can't actually remember what level I was.
Why don't you download the Destiny app?
Because I haven't got that into the game, Rob. I don't need to swap the stuff around. I am... Oh, what do you mean sign back in? Sessions expired?
I'm just going to load the app and I can tell you what I am.
Oh, it doesn't need... Why does it need to do all this? Warlock, level 27 I am now. So, yeah. Also, in this bloody Bungie app, right, it tells you what I've done on the other Halo games.
Yeah.
Halo 3, 210 total games. I'm guessing that's multiplayer, right?
Yeah, I assume.
Halo 3 ODST. I loved Firefight.
Right. 5
games it says I played. And for Halo Reach, 6 games.
I don't know how they calculate.
Now, I'm telling you now, I have definitely played more than that. All I can assume is they're clearly faulty intrinsically. But that did annoy me when I just sort of thought, why is that even telling me that? But, you know, anyway, at least I can play split screen co-op of it.
Well, yeah, fuck that. Can't do that in Halo 5.
I know. When I read it, I was like, oh shit, Rob's going to melt down when he sees that.
I just like the way there was the comment, we want all our gamers to enjoy the co-op campaign. I'm like, you obviously don't want all of them to do it, because you've basically said, well, if you want to do it, you either need to play online with someone or buy 2 Xboxes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to buy 2 Xboxes, so I probably won't buy your game.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing. I mean, I can understand on some games because it's graphical fidelity they want to maintain, but they're saying it's going to have co-op anyway. So
online co-op, I can understand.
I can understand for the 4-player thing, or 5-player, so it's going to turn out to be. But to not have 2 on the console, like 4, I could say, fair enough, that's going to be a stretch.
What frustrates me is I think Emma and I have done every other Halo game as a split screen.
I just had a thought. You know what would
Chop
be
the telly
good?
enough.
No, John Wood they could do if they'd allowed it. You know that they're going to do Xbox streaming to Windows 10. What if they allowed you to play co-op with controller plugged into the Windows PC?
But then I'd have to buy a PC.
No, I know, but I'm wondering whether that's part of their push. Whether that's another reason why they took it out.
Maybe.
Because they then say, well, if you've got a PC and you've got an Xbox, you don't need 2 Xboxes because you're both in the same room and you both got your own controller, your own full screen. Yeah. I mean, that might be, because we already know Fable was big push towards its cross-platform between Windows 10 and thing. We haven't had an announcement that Halo 5 not coming to PC. Maybe that's something we're going to see at E3.
Maybe.
And if it does, and that is the reason, that would suggest they've deliberately balked split screen just to allow people to use a Windows 10.
I don't care about people, I care about me.
You care about meeple,
yeah,
not people.
Exactly. I'm kind of pissed off with it because we played literally every other game.
Well, this is it. Like, I knew one of the big factors for you getting Xbox One was to play Halo 5.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I did make the offer. You will be very welcome to borrow my console. And if it means...
It's the principle of the thing.
No, I know it's the principle of the thing. And as you jokingly said, it would take you longer to get that disc to work around driving membership. I'd just probably make sure the disc was in the drive when I lent it to you. That would be also okay.
And then it'll be all scratched where it's rattled around as you transported it.
All right, Jesus. I'll get a digital copy of it. All right? Yeah. I don't even think I'm going to get it at launch, to be honest. I'm not entirely sold it. I mean, obviously we haven't seen a lot of it. But it does seem to be, like they've already said, all the multiplayer DLC will be free, which is a good thing. But then split screen co-op's missing, and you can only play co-op with Xbox Live. It seems to be, well, we know that's bad news, so here's some good news. Yeah. But here's the good news.
But the multiplayer maps don't appeal to me in any way.
And that's the thing, I think they've completely misunderstood the people who play split screen co-op and not the people who play online.
No. I think Emma and I had some games multiplayer online, split screen again.
Yeah.
But that's not why I buy Halo.
No.
I know a lot of people do and have done since Halo 2.
Oh,
fine.
The majority,
it's the same with Call of Duty.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say the majority will, and they will lap up the free DLC. But the point is...
That's probably the thing. I'm in the minority.
I would
say
they
haven't got a problem giving me the finger.
No.
Because they know the multiplayer DLC will be enough to...
Is Destiny split screen?
No.
Co-op. Oh, well, you know... At least I was going to say...
But you know that with Destiny going in.
Yeah.
This is the first Destiny, you know what you've got going into it. Whereas Halo, I said all the others have been split screen.
Yeah.
All of them.
Oh, well. Anyway, what else have you been playing?
Football Manager. I've reloaded my footy managers. We briefly touched on last week.
Yeah.
Champions League final.
You were doing the German FA Cup final.
Yes, I lost in the German... I lost in German Cup final last season in the game. I got knocked out in the quarterfinals in the current season. But I'm still top of the league, so I can't complain. I also started a Juventus game, the Champions League final last weekend, inspired.
They're the ones that wear black and white shirts,
yes,
like Newcastle did once.
And Notts County. That's why Juventus wear black and white stripes. They bought or ended up with Notts County's old kit many, many moons ago. So when they moved into their new stadium, they played Notts County. That was the first ever game there. Well, what is now their current stadium? Fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah, I know how much you like football.
Knowing how... I knew what shirts they wore and Newcastle wore. Yeah. That was somewhat impressive.
It was.
Yeah, don't count me out just yet.
Yeah.
I know my Didier Drogbas.
Yeah. Where do you think Jurgen Klopp will end up?
I genuinely think he'll probably end up at Newcastle.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the fact that they've signed someone else.
They have,
today.
yeah. I like the way that
Is it
Steve McLaren, the old
McLaren,
England
yeah.
boss. So this is the guy who had Derby County cruising practically to the Premier League, missed the playoffs altogether. Now he's got a Premier League job. That's doing all right. I know. It just really amused me, some of the managerial appointments this summer, because Rafa Benitez went from Napoli, who I think they finished second in the league when he took over. He finished fifth this year. He spent £110 million. They missed the Champions League. He's now manager of Real Madrid, arguably the second biggest team in the world. That's all right if you can get that sort of work, isn't it?
Is Real Madrid... Did they want to be called Madrid, but somebody had already had a football team called Madrid? Like the Ghostbusters had to be the real Ghostbusters.
I wasn't there.
It's a possibility, isn't it?
It's a possibility.
This is Dalek Sex, and the voice of sex is coming in your ears.
Yeah. Huh. Come on. He's got opinion and posted suggestion, but never reveals his name. Read by someone, taken as a good one, but nobody knows who wrote it. Few lies of the sentence lie, anonymity annoying me all the time. It's like a 2-channel where people just throw their anger, forget about those foul actions.
I think we can all agree that there won't be any more Metal Gear games. Yes, Metal Gear Solid 5 is still going to come out, and yes, there might even be more sequels after that, and they might even be very good, but they won't be Metal Gear. Metal Gear Rising has proven that you can pass the franchise on to another team, and the game will be perfectly good, but it still won't be Metal Gear. So, having established that Metal Gear has absolutely no future, I'd like to talk to you about why Metal Gear Ground Zeroes is absolutely the future of the Metal Gear franchise. Ground Zeroes is, in my opinion, objectively the best Metal Gear game. It's been criticised for its length, but let's break that length down. It represents about 3 to 4 hours of gameplay for those who just want to blast through, and 6 to 9 hours for those who absolutely must grind us into the ground and find every secret. That, to me, is perfect for a £15 game. For a start, the gameplay is incredibly rich, in a way which is not only enough to support its size, but adds a goldmine of replayability in the way in which multiple approaches can be employed to solve the same problems. It's a game which allows the player to take as much out of it as they put in, and not only this, it affords the player that choice. Contrast this with previous Metal Gear entries which forced the player to endure through literally hours of cutscenes, hammering the skip button just to dig down to mere minutes of actual gameplay, and it makes perfect sense. And a structure like this pretty much fixes all the mainstream criticisms that commonly get levelled at the franchise. Guns of the Patriots, for example, offered hours of dialogue, layered over minutes of shallow gameplay. Ground Zeroes takes the far more sensible design decision of layering a small core of varied and hardcore gameplay over the top of a veritable goldmine of rich content that the player can choose to investigate or not. Imagine if Kojima chose to go with that format going forward. In just one design decision, he'd destroy his reputation of being infamous for style over substance, and instead be renowned as a developer who prized a well-built product first, but went above and beyond that to serve up lashings of detailed content for those who wanted to immerse themselves in the mad and baroque game worlds that he crafts. Not only that, but concentrating on short games and kicking 2 or 3 out of the door a year using existing assets and charging indie-level prices for them, his games would never wear out their welcome like his previous titles have, and always leave the fans clamouring for more. If Mr. Kojima is listening, and I know he's a big fan of the show, I hope he's now clear on the direction he should be going in a parallel universe in which his parent company hasn't shat on his head like the ungrateful, bloated, soulless swine that they are, and that he's still in control of the IP. And I expect a Christmas card from him, thanking me for solving all of his problems. And there you are. You can get Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 4 for free this month on PS Plus, providing you haven't made the poor life decision of buying an Xbox One and thereby precluding yourself from ever playing Bloodborne. I'm off to E3 now, and by that I mean I'm off to the private E3 I hold every year under my duvet, in which there are no announcements and the only guest is a 3-litre bottle of Frosty Jacks. You can follow me on Twitter at The Voice of Sex, and find me on YouTube at Sex Talks About Apps, where some really choice games have been up for Let's Play this week, like You Must Build a Boat, Kung Fury, and Electronic Superjoy Groove City. Tooroo.
Right, this week, Rob,
Yeah.
I found out something shocking. Something that absolutely shook me to the core.
Right.
Keith Chegwin has blocked me on Twitter.
Right.
Now, normally, I don't have two shits. Like that wanker of an MP, Stuart Jackson from Peterborough.
Yeah.
I once had a go at him. There you go.
Didn't like some.
Oh. I once had a go at him about his stance on gay relationships.
Yeah. A lot of people have.
Yeah, and he immediately blocked me, which is fair enough. You know, he doesn't want to have criticisms of his obviously archaic viewpoint.
Yeah.
And so he
especially as an elected official, he doesn't want to know what people think.
He's, you know, he knows he's an arsehole. He doesn't need people telling him it. So
Peter has had a really rough ride with MPs.
They really have. They really have. But Keith Chegwin, I have never, in my days, ever said anything bad about.
Maybe that's why.
Well, all I can think
obviously
of,
too nice.
I don't know if you know much about Keith Chegwin on Twitter, but there is one thing that's generally levelled at him as a criticism. That he steals,
Naked Jungle?
No, he steals jokes.
Okay.
And it made me start to think, is this how he gets away with stealing jokes? Like, I must have written something funny
right.
that Keith Chegwin then read,
yep.
blocked me, as if to say, well, I couldn't see his joke. How could I have seen his joke? Are you now looking at Keith Chegwin's Twitter feed?
I'm just seeing if he's
stolen your
jokes.
not blocked?
No, I'm not blocked.
Oh, it would have been ages ago, obviously, because
right.
I don't think it's a new feed. It doesn't like send me a notification going, now Keith Chegwin has blocked you.
No, that's fine. I'm just seeing if he's stolen any of your jokes.
Somebody was talking about Keith Chegwin, and I thought, oh, I've not looked at his Twitter feed for a long while. Looked at it, I was blocked. Now, that's one option, right? He stole a joke and wanted to come up with some plausible deniability.
Yep.
The other option is I've said something that's offended him, right?
Right.
The man who starred in Naked Jungle was offended by me.
Well, you just had a rant about people getting all their clothes off in the summer.
But that was just now, not in the past. At what point does a man who will do that role he did on Extras... That wasn't him, was it? Yes, it was him. That was Les Dennis. Did Keith Chegwin do Extras as well?
I can't remember. I didn't really
Les
watch
Dennis
Extras.
definitely had a weird, horrible, creepy breakdown. But anyway, the point is, yes, I might have something like controversial to say at some point, but I don't see why Keith Chegwin needs to suddenly take an interest in it. Him blocking me suggests that he might have considered following me at some point, because if not, he's not going to see me. I'm not going to be retweeted frequently enough to appear on his timeline. Because how many people is he following?
He's following 5,637.
And how many people following him?
169,005.
Right. So a very small majority, or minority, right? So let's just say in that 5,000, there are about 100 people of genuine taste and they follow me on Twitter.
Right.
Right? Now, of those 100 people, maybe one every now and then will go, he's making another joke about spies. And he retweets it, right? Okay. Keith Chegwin sat there at the time and thinks, oh, well, that's outrageous, while he's walking around naked in a jungle. And then thinks, right, I'm not going to have any of this. Block him. Block him? Going down the streets and on TV, knocking on people's doors. Fuck off, Keith Chegwin.
Yeah.
I used to really like Keith Chegwin when I was younger. Now, he's on my list. With
what
bloody
list?
Warwick Davis.
Oh, the wanker list.
Yeah. Well, I would put it more the people I would actually murder if I could get away with it list.
Yeah.
By saying it all out loud first, though, does sort of negate the risk of being able to do it.
It does.
But, yeah, I now want to go to Panto, where Keith Chegwin is performing, and heckle him until I'm asked to leave.
Yeah, but that would be the entire audience. How would you get your heckling above everybody else's?
Because I would walk to the front of the thing and go, "Hey, Keith, block me on Twitter, do you? Block me on Twitter, you big fat twat. Yeah, you shit, Keith. You Keith Shitwin is what you are." Just repeatedly throw water bombs at him or something. Just, how dare he?
How dare he?
How dare he? How dare he intolerant do you think he is?
I'll throw yogurt at him.
But yeah, like, that's just the weirdest thing. So I'm going to ask people who are listening, have you ever been blocked by a celebrity on Twitter? And if so, why? Did you deserve it, or do you think it's a grand injustice? Because frankly, I think that's an injustice. Yeah. Stuart Jackson, fair enough, right? He's an arsehole. I called him an arsehole. He decides to block me. Absolutely fair enough. I can understand it. Keith Chegwin, I've no idea.
Maybe he's friends with Stuart Jackson.
Oh, well, that would suggest that he's anti-gay marriage. It's even more of a reason for him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Right, new segment on the show.
Yeah.
Where we're going to talk about
Sex talks about apps.
which is Dalek's YouTube contributions. So
Yep.
they're now going to start featuring on the main blog.
Yep.
This week, the 4 that I picked out that generally stood out, and I thought, yeah, these are pretty good. Hugo and Ronaldo. And this is Ronaldo, the Atletico...
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, is it?
Well, I don't know. You've either got Cristiano Ronaldo, who's currently playing for Real Madrid, or Fat Ronaldo, who's playing for Brazil.
No, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Right? So there's him, and then Hugo the Troll. Do you remember Hugo the Troll?
Not really.
Do you remember Going Live?
Yes.
On Going
I was
Live,
quite young when going.
they had a thing where you could ring in
Yep.
and go left, or hit 4 and 6, and then somebody would basically move the controller.
Okay.
They also had Magic Pockets by the Bitmap Brothers, but one of the games they had was with Hugo the Troll.
Okay.
It was
The left right bit is ringing a bell.
Yeah.
So
basically, I think you had to collect diamonds on that one.
okay.
And it featured on loads of different TV shows around Europe. And it was quite big.
Okay.
But only on the sense that people were like playing a game over the phone.
Yeah.
This is Hugo the Troll with Ronaldo in an endless skating game where Ronaldo is trying to get away from a fat paparazzi on a motorbike.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It creates a situation where Dalek is speechless.
Well.
I was speechless.
Yeah.
So that immediately got onto the list.
Yep.
You must build a boat.
Right.
A match 3 puzzler that involves also building a boat.
Yep.
Very, very good. Kung Fury Street Rage.
Okay.
Which I actually have on this device here. Yep. This is a spin-off of that half-an-hour film Kung Fury. I don't know if you've seen much about this on Twitter. Basically, it was crowdfunded. It was a guy goes back in time to kill Hitler.
Okay.
Who is the Kung Fuhrer.
Let's see what they did there.
It's absolutely amazing. It's like a full-on 80s parody movie. And then they've got this game, which is done in the style of Streets of Rage style thing.
Yep.
It plays much like any of those kind of hit the button to punch one direction, hit the button to punch another. I think there was one called One Finger Death Punch. My kids play one as well. And it just plays in that old sort of retro vibe, and it's very, very good.
Cool.
So Dalek talks about that one.
Yep.
And finally, Portal Pinball from the people who did Pinball FX and the one on PlayStation Network, which I can never remember the name of. They're called Zen.
Right.
And they make very good pinball machines. And they did Portal Pinball. And we talked a couple of weeks ago about how Portal had been added to LEGO Dimensions.
Yeah, using the Portal license.
And I said, it seems weird that they've added that. Obviously now we've got Pinball version of Portal.
We have.
It does seem like they really are getting this license out and refreshed. So do you think we're going to have Portal 3 at E3?
Maybe.
Do you think Valve would dare? Because they stopped at Left 4 Dead 2. If they do Portal 3 before they do Half-Life 3, it might.
But they did Portal 2 before they did Half-Life 3.
Yeah, they'd already done Half-Life 2 by that point.
I suppose.
I don't think there's been a 3 game come out from Valve yet. So
They fear the magic.
it's true. So that's just 4 of the many games that Dalek has been playing. If you want to have a check on those, you can find him on YouTube under Sex Talks About Apps or via the links on the website, which is under the YouTube or Fit Links or something.
We've got should have a menu. We should have a drop down in the menu at the top with the links to different channels. We've got Sex Talks About Apps, our own We Are the Holocaust one, and Mark's Silicon.
There you go. So you'll find it on there, and like I said, I will be curating my favourites each week on the main blog. So there we go. Let's have some news with our amazing Australian journalist.
Campaign between James and Phoebe really heating up now. Things. This is the fucking news.
That was amazing.
Fucking news, right?
Yeah. That was amazing.
It is amazing. Right. Sega.
Yeah.
I love Sega. I love Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
This is fact. Undeniable fact, isn't it? I mean, I don't think anybody can sit there and go, no, you don't. Because I obviously do. Now, this is Sonic the Hedgehog's Twitter account I'm now showing you.
Yep.
The official Twitter feed with 159,000 followers and a verified tick.
Yep.
Right, so it is official. Whoever it is who basically is now running the Sonic Hedgehog Twitter account for Sega, is amazing, right? They really understand how it is to go through. So one guy tweeted, went, "Dear Sonic Hedgehog, this is the 5th tweet I've sent you. I need to know what the superior frozen pizza is." He went, "All we can say, it's not delivery." Right? It's gone through. I mean, there's lots of people now messaging it because
they've got wind of it.
Yeah, there was one which was Sonic Hedgehog is exactly the kind of Twitter account I would have expected if Twitter was around in 1991, but with more Mario bashing. And then somebody went, "Yeah, Sega tweets what Nintendo won't."
Oh.
And then Sonic jumped in and went, "We haven't posted a picture of Waluigi with an unfortunate hashtag yet. It's probably just a matter of time."
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point where it does feel like a proper like business ran Twitter account, but done well. And Sonic hasn't had that. Like he hasn't had a game where he's had this much attitude for so long.
Some of these businesses are starting to cotton on to this kind of culture that exists online or on things like Twitter and Facebook, and perhaps specifically things like Twitter. And you see a lot of the NHL hockey teams now. Their social media guys are really savvy, really sharp-witted, and some of it is brilliant, and it's great. Fan engagement. Yeah. I've spoken to the guy. He used to work for Ottawa. Now it's the board member of the team at Toronto. Right. Social media team there, Chris, and he's so quick-witted. And some of the stuff they do, it's so simple yet creative that it has that little thing where people go and it's that little, it only has to be a little laugh, but it's enough to make them go retweet, favourite,
absolutely.
Or did you see what so and so account did?
Well, it's like Trevor Bergen tweeted at Sonic Hedgehog. Remember when Sonic kissed a princess? He went, "Nope, never happened. Nope." Just, it's all these kind of. It genuinely understands where people kind of had issues with Sonic, and they've kind of said, "You know what?" And obviously, this is from Sega. They had to kind of say, "Okay, like you can criticise these games, but please don't criticise the ones that are actually selling right now. That would be fine." So somebody asked Sonic Head, "Are any of Sonic's friends communists?" Right. So Sonic went, "You win the award for one of the strangest questions we've been asked today." And then the Red Scare bot, the Robert McCarthy bot that says basically, "I'm Sonic's friend and a communist. Take the fear off." Sonic went, "McCarthy, bro, we talked about this. Stop right now, or I swear we'll bring Eisenhower again." It's so clever and so brilliant. It's obviously Sega of America because the timing of everything going through. But my absolute favourite song was Sonic Hedgehog, "Why do you post so many memes on Twitter? Sonic, what happened to you?" And Sonic went, "This is the internet. We love memes and cats. And now we present to you both." It's just a cat eating a load of cake. And then the last one I will share with you is where somebody said about, "Are you actually Sonic?" Let's see if I can find it. You fill the gap while I do this.
With what? Why have you got this so prepared, you see? It's on the running order.
It's because it's been so popular. There's so much to filter through now.
Yeah.
I just have to find it. But basically, somebody went,
Basically, American companies are learning at a much faster rate. As I said, all the sports teams do it. Now, the other, because Sonic is controlled by Sega US.
Yeah.
So I spoke to my friend at Sega Europe, and he's like, it's all controlled from the US office. And they've obviously cottoned on to something that all the sports teams are cottoning on to. People like funny things. People like bits of sarcasm or snark. And especially if it's a branded thing. If you're invested in a brand, they kind of like when your brand is snarky about other brands. Yeah. It's good. I like it. It is amusing. It is nice. And it's showing that some of these big businesses are learning what people these days, sound like an old bastard, they kind of engage with. Because ultimately that's what it is. It's all very cynical of a way to make people engage with their brand. Yeah. But if you're doing it in a certain way, it's going to work.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I can't even find it, but basically, went, "Are you real Sonic?" And he went, "Take a look at an account. Look right at the verified tick, look left at our name, then look right again, then look left. You got your answer." It was just this, like, very carefully worded, like, rather just say yes. It was like, okay, we're going to play with you a little bit and say this. It's impressed me because that is the coolest thing that Sonic the Hedgehog has done since 1997. and it works. And it works beautifully. And now they've announced a new 3DS version of Sonic Boom, Fire Ice, which most people were like, don't care. But
it's whipped up a bit more interest all of a sudden.
Well, Sonic for me was always about, like, it was like a teenager with a bit of attitude. And now it's like a teenager with a bit of attitude has grown up, got a job in a social media team, and is now working on a Twitter account. And it kind of feels like that a little bit, which is very good. But
entirely what I was driving at. You've got these people now in the workplace.
Well, that's it.
They're not just kids who grew up or with your MySpaces and things, who kind of grew up with this internet
your
culture.
MySpaces and your GR.
You know what I mean? They grew up with they grew up with the internet, literally.
Well,
they grew up in this sort of weird subculture that exists online. They understand it and they know how to tap into it.
Yeah.
And now they're making money at it to help their company make money at it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's great. I tell you what else is great: pop vinyls.
The new ones are.
You're not really into pop vinyls on the sense that some of them have got your interest, but not enough to make you go out and buy them immediately.
Yeah, I think the closest I've got is my Darth Vader. Was it Mighty Mugs, which are a bit similar?
Yeah.
I've got one of those, but that's currently it.
Until these come out.
Well, yes.
Fallout pop vinyls.
Yes.
And Skyrim, which were in the thing, but they're not as cool.
No.
They're cool, but
not as cool
in comparison. Although saying that, I won't be buying all of the Fallout ones because I think some of them do look a bit gimpy.
I'm specifically interested in one. I can probably take or leave the rest until I go, well, I've got that one. I should probably completely
Brotherhood of Steel is my
Yes.
essential, just because it does look like
It looks awesome.
what it's supposed to. That I will get a Vault Dweller, or the Wanderer, I don't know what they're calling him, or her, because it never even occurred to me to create a female one. Normally with games I create female characters. I didn't with Fallout. I created a man. I don't know whether it is because I just felt maybe a man would have a better chance of surviving.
All right.
I don't know.
I know.
Oh, don't.
You're going to get fucking complaining.
Last week when we did this whole thing about feminism.
Oh, feminism, yeah.
You're the racist. Where I'm talking about feminism, where we're saying about, it's sometimes there's too much emphasis on female rights, not enough on male rights. We did have a couple of emails about that, where people would say, well, it's all right for you as a straight, white, comfortable skinned male. And I was like, well, yeah. I understand I'm in a position of privilege. It doesn't mean, therefore, I have to give up all my rights to having an opinion. And so I have emailed back and forth a little bit. And I do apologise. It was a kind of heavy-handed description of my feeling on it. But my feeling is still equality should exist, but it shouldn't be masculine or feminine. It should just be humanist.
Yeah.
And people should just look out for other people. Full stop. Like this week, we had that scientist who said there shouldn't be female scientists because they fall in love and cry.
Yeah.
And which has now started an amazing wave of female scientists putting signs up and stuff. And then yesterday, the news broke about Goodfellas. Did you see this one?
Don't think I did.
A guy in America, I think his name was Sean something, I can't remember, but he wrote an article saying that women don't understand Goodfellas. So
The film or the pizza?
The film, so shouldn't watch it. And then loads of people were like, I don't even understand Goodfellas. What is it? Science? It's
a bit like that Harry Enfield sketch. Women know your limits.
Yeah, it's know your place, isn't it, and stuff like that. But this is just like, why would you write an article saying, "Well, Goodfellas, that's a film women can't understand"? I don't get that. Like my partner's seen Goodfellas, she understood it. So either that means she's not a woman, which is worrying, or that man's wrong.
I think he's probably wrong. I'm going with
that. I know she's mostly woman, or she had a very good surgeon. But it's a very weird world we live in when people still make these very archaic attitudes. And then I kind of get lumped in with those a little bit because they're like, well, you can't really talk. Last week you were saying that women should pipe down. No, what I was saying was saying that you want equality because you think that Parliament should be more women than men. That's not equality. Let's just leave it at that. So anyway, Fallout pop vinyls.
Surely that's a completely separate argument because people vote for their candidate.
Well, again, I had this argument with somebody this week, which was I was saying that the right candidate isn't necessarily male or female. It's the right candidate.
The right candidate.
And I dare say more people of a traditional voter may think that a 50-plus man in a suit is more MP, in inverted commas. But I think that's changing a lot over the last so many years.
Yes. Is that also to do with the fact that some of those people who may have seen an MP as a 50-year-old man in a suit are dying and being replaced by younger voters who are alive.
Well, if you even look at Mo Molan, look like a man in a suit.
All right. God.
No, but what I'm saying is,
by political standards, she had that. And to be fair, Thatcher was the same.
Yeah.
The blazer.
It's an authoritative image.
Yes,
and I think that's the thing. So when I say a 50-year-old black, I don't specifically mean a 50-year-old black. I mean like a headmaster.
There's a certain visual weight to them.
Yeah.
With the blazer, the very neat and tidy dress.
If you look at
no flies
the
on
reaction to the SNP going into Parliament, and they were like, "Oh, look at all these young people coming in here, not respecting the laws that have been laws for hundreds of years." It's like, well, this is Parliament changing. This is good. This is a good thing. Like Parliament should
progress.
You should be able to tweet from the House of Commons and go, "Look at us sitting in the House."
You can't even tweet from fucking Cambridge County Council meetings.
No, but that's the point. Like, and it was even like a local town council. They had to change the rules to say, well, you could tweet, but you can't take photos of people without their permission, and it was stupid because what it does, it opens up and allows people to be engaged by politics.
Oh yeah,
and so if suddenly Twitter's got people going,
look at us, maybe they need to look at this and say, maybe this is why the SNP did so well.
Yeah, and also I think if that was to be something that was encouraged, it would mean doom for a lot of the mainstays of Parliament, because suddenly they would look very jaded and dated and awful. And instead, you've got them going, "Hey, these people clapping in Parliament! How dare they? How dare they?" You can do that, but you can't applaud. Like, fuck off. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the Parliament noises that have been around for 300 years are stupid. If you watch any of Prime Minister's Question Times, their Prime Minister's Questions rather, I always try and watch them live if I can. It is a fucking shambles of grown people going, "Oh, look, guess what he just said? He just slated her, and she can't respond because she's not the Prime Minister." It's like, he should just concentrate on making a decision. Not putting funny references about, I must give thanks to you for getting Ed Balls out of Parliament. Fuck off! You're an elected official. Stop making jokes. Like, get on with what you're supposed to do. You're the Prime Minister. Stop trying to look like reading your script that 10 other people have written in a back office for you to look clever and edgy on TV. When you don't. You look like your face has been carved out of ham.
John Ham.
See, the sun's going down and I'm not in a bad mood. I've had caffeine as well.
So you won't be buying the David Cameron pop vinyl, is what we're saying.
He is a fucking pop vinyl. He's not. He's one of them things you get in Poundland, like a poop vinyl or bot vinyl or something.
Right.
Shit commons.
Yeah. Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers. Have you ever played Toy Soldiers? I keep meaning to ask you.
Never picked it up. Always one of those ones I kind of lingered over going, it's probably one of those games I quite like.
Yeah.
And I keep flicking through.
It's tower defence, but played sort of third person. But you can kind of interact with it, so you can kind of take because the first one was World War One.
Right.
So you can have like a tank, and you could drive that tank out and control that tank, or you could be in an artillery cannon and actually control that cannon manually. So rather than most tower defence, you just place where to go and they would attack. You could actually jump in and give focused attack on something that was attacking you. Then the second one was Cold War, and it was all like Rambo toys and things like that. Again, really, really cool. They're doing a new one called War Chest, which seems to be a kind of best of everything they've done, but also adding in new toys. But specifically, they're doing legendary toys.
Yep.
And the first two that are being added are G.I. Joe and He-Man and Master Universe.
Very exciting.
And He-Man and Master Universe figures in the trailer. Have you seen the trailer?
I haven't watched the trailer. I saw the news item.
Basically they are based on the sculpt of the original figures. So the G.I. Joe one has got the metal hinge.
Yep, I saw that in the picture.
Yeah, and He-Man has got his little plastic sword and does ride Battlecat. And there's Orko, and there's all the Eternian soldiers with their green helmets, like loading cannons. And I just, knowing that that's 2 of 4, the rumours are Zoids and Transformers. I think probably only Zoids. I don't think they'll get the Transformers licence.
No.
Although it's still Hasbro.
The films probably maybe put that.
Yeah, and I think Zoids is already a robot anyway. But then you've got... What else could it be? See, Thundercats is one on there. That would be amazing, especially if you had like the tank, the battle tank, and stuff, or is it going to be they'll do the bad guys from He-Man? So you'd have Cobra and the League of Evil, I think they were in that. So you'd have like Hordak and the castles and stuff. And it's £20 for game and all the DLC, which is known at all coming out later this year. I dare say they'll have this E3 as well, talking about it, because it's that weird time before E3 where some smaller games are having to do their announcement now, knowing that no one will pay attention once they show the new Battlefield and Call of Duty off. So, not that there's going to be a new Battlefield.
Yeah.
Didn't say that. Battlefront, I meant. But, which is Battlefield. So all those big games go through. So they've announced Shadow Warrior 2.
But it's kind of a perfect time because people are starting to get excited for E3.
Absolutely.
They're starting to peruse things like Eurogamer and IGN. So it's like, well, as we know, their traffic's starting to suddenly now go up a bit.
Yeah.
Where people are looking at the rumours.
Yeah.
We'll put our official news out there.
Yeah. I mean, Shadow Warrior 2 is brilliant. First Shadow Warrior original on PC was great. The remake was marvellous. The sequel to the remake is ridiculous and over the top. A bloke gets chopped in half. Yep. And the team, I think it's Devolver Digital, were doing some promo for it. And YouTube told them they couldn't use that trailer because a man gets cut in half. So they wouldn't be allowed to promote it on there. And I was like, what? On YouTube? A man getting cut in half in a game suddenly won't allow you to be promoted? Crazy. But yeah, it's a good time. They've also announced that Angry Birds characters are going to be in Sonic Rush or Dash or whichever one it is, and that they're going to be something else to do with Angry Birds. Angry Birds Lego they're making as well, which seems a little bit pointless because it's all about knocking stuff down. Lego's about building stuff up.
It is,
but it's still another interesting license, and maybe will that mean that's a roundabout way of putting them into dimensions?
I was just wondering that myself.
Because again, I wouldn't complain.
No,
Mix
I
all these.
would.
I can't wait for dimensions. It's the cost, Rob. I need to get a better job before then. I need to be like the managing director of Barclays or something by that point.
I don't think Barclays are ever going to employ you, are they?
Well, not if I hang around with racists all the time. That's why I can get showed up on that scam.
Stop hanging around by yourself.
It wasn't that test. They just looked at our blog. Hall of Fame.
Yes.
There's a new Hall of Fame.
There's a proper video gaming Hall of Fame.
And it's all made up of Sonic the Hedgehog games, I'm betting.
So, yeah, it's in the Strong Museum in Rochester,
The
New
Strong
York.
Museum?
Yeah. At the Strong Museum.
That's
So
good.
it's called the Strong.
Oh, so it's not called the Strong Museum.
It's a museum called the Strong in Rochester.
It should be called the Strong Museum.
And be a museum for strong men and video games.
No, it could just be like, don't try and push this museum over because it's strong.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, maybe it's named after somebody called Strong.
Well, the Strong comprises the National Museum of Play, the International Centre for the History of Electronic Games, the National Toy Hall of Fame, and the Brian Sutton Smith Library and Archives of Play, and the American Journal of Play.
So a lot of playing going on.
A lot of playing.
This is actually a museum, as if somebody's basement.
It might be someone's large basement. The point is, it's bringing these things together, and it has a proper video game Hall of Fame.
So, what games are the inaugural members of Hall of Fame?
Right. Pong.
Yes, that's
kind of an obvious one, I think.
Yeah, it has to be. Should have been Space War, maybe, but I think Pong's more accessible.
Yep. Pac-Man.
Yep.
I mean, that was a pretty big arcade game in its time.
Yes.
Still pretty recognisable now.
Does it have, is it just like Pac-Man in general?
Just
is it like Pac-Man Arcade or Pac-Man Tabletop, or is it Pac-Man
just as Pac-Man?
We'll pretend that's the arcade version.
Okay. Tetris.
Right. Yeah, okay, as long as it's Game Boy version.
They've got the Game Boy version in the picture, so I assume.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, and they've got the tabletop version of Pac-Man.
Yep.
So probably that's what they've added. Okay.
Super Mario Brothers. Looks like the NES one, going by the picture.
Alright.
Well, I mean, that's...
There's no Sonic in that picture.
No.
But they've got the worst Mario game.
Well, but it's the one that started it all.
Well, no, Mario Brothers on 2600 started.
Well, I suppose,
before that, Donkey Kong.
But
anyway...
it's the one that made it popular. Then,
should have been Mario 3, I think. If you're going to put Mario game in, an original, I thought Mario 3 would have been the better one. Maybe they're saving that for next year.
Maybe we can nominate it for next year.
Go on then. It's got to be something with guns.
Doom.
Doom's
got guns.
That's got a BFG in it.
It has.
Not David Jason with big ears.
Good if it hid though. Just turns up, smacks the demon on the head. I feel like the stranger from Fallout.
Whiz Pop and hits it with a snoscumber. I love the BFG. That's one of my favourite books.
I watched it on BBC Alba the other day.
They're making Disney are doing a new live action one.
Yeah, we've been over the Disney live actions,
but I think some of them have been very good. I think BFG could work really well because at the moment all we've got is a Cosgrove Hall animated version.
Don't make me bring up Dumbo again.
Yeah, well, Dumbo's a stupid idea. Giants is okay. Well, it's London and giants. There weren't many other weird creatures in there. It was set in the real world. It just had giants. So a live action version of something that's set in the real world is okay.
Dumbo was set in the real world. It's just talking animals with big ears.
But the elephant, Dumbo, or the elephant doesn't look like a real... Look, what else is in there?
World of Warcraft is the last one going in.
What?
Yeah, I know you got upset with this earlier.
No, that suggests I already knew what you were going to say before we said it.
Well, we
like
both
we'd have
knew
prepared
this.
Or something.
What, like we've got a running order that we reference frequently in every episode?
Our shtick is that we're not very prepared. Like that, where
we're not. We've got a running order. We've got a running order. We're terribly.
The fact that I'd screenshotted each of those Sonic tweets, but then decided not to use them was accurate of me.
That's
Look
your
at that
full fault.
Nice lock screen. Do you know what that is?
That's not a Sonic thing. That's a child.
That is Scardstar. That's Gareth.
Why is Gareth as a child your lock screen?
Because I thought he'd find it really creepy.
It is creepy. It's really creepy, and I'm not Gareth.
I was going to put it as an official downloadable thing on the Lock Course page as well.
No wonder we never see him. He's really hiding. He's fearful.
Well, you know, it is his new wife because they got married. So congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Sandy. Yes. She put it on there to say, "Oh look, still marrying." And they're like, "No." And I thought he does look. I mean, like compared to what he looks like now, which is basically a bloody prison rapist.
To be fair, if I got a marker pen right now and coloured on your screen a black beard, it would very obviously be Gareth.
Yeah, it's his shifty eyes, really, isn't it? And that
they follow you around the room.
They do. So I like to have that as a reminder. The only downside is if I'm like furiously masturbating and then I get an email that lights up. So and that makes me come far too quickly.
Right.
Anyway, World of Warcraft. Anything to get away from talking. Why is World of Warcraft in the Video Game Hall of Fame?
Well, it is probably the daddy of MMOs.
Twin Kingdom Valley on the Spectrum.
Why
not Leisure Suit Larry? Why not?
Was Leisure Suit Larry an MMO? Was it?
No.
Was it a genre-defining game?
Right, an MMO that's genre-defining. Why not Knights of the Old Republic?
Because it wasn't an MMO. Well, no, it was, sorry. Knights of the Republic is obviously MMO, but Warcraft was the one that kind of kicked it off, really.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I just think that...
What an MMO am I talking about?
I think...
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think... Well, no, it wasn't Knights of the Old Republic, it was the Old Republic, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we're getting each other confused.
Knights of the Old Republic was the BioWare one, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, World of Warcraft, I suppose, been going for about 10 years, isn't it? A bit longer than 10 years. 2004, was it?
2003 in the US, 4 here. Yeah. No, 4 in the US, 5 here. But it's February 2005, so just over 10 years.
10 or 11 years. That is, I suppose, fair enough. That should qualify. But as a result of this, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? We're going to start the lower court, or the Wattle, Back of the Game Hall of Fame. Just so we can get it onto stickers that people won't immediately rip off for fear of racist remarks. And we're going to have our own Hall of Fame where each week, over the next 50 weeks, maybe 100 weeks, I don't know, maybe forever.
Maybe.
Depends on how quick you forget to do them. We are going to basically nominate a week each a game that we feel is deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. Now, the rules are, has to be a game that's older than 3 years.
Okay. And
it has to be a game we've completed. So none of this like jumping on the bandwagon going, oh yeah, I'll tell you what was really good. Papers, Please. That was an amazing game. I do think it's an amazing game, but I never finished it. So if I want it to be in the Hall of Fame, I've got to play it through. Which also means we'll be playing games again. Which is also good. So yeah, we're not going to ask for submissions to the Hall of Fame though, not at this point. But obviously if you wish to create your own Hall of Fame, we can't stop you.
Yeah.
So there we go. What might make it into the Hall of Fame in 4 years' time, We Happy Few. This is coming from my friends, and it's not compulsion, although I have a feeling it is compulsion. I can't remember. They made a game called Contrast.
Okay.
That came on the PS. It was launched out of PS4. It's out on lots of other things as well. And you played around. It was a platformer game. but you could switch between the foreground and the background, so you could jump on shadows of things.
Okay.
It's a very clever game. It didn't work brilliantly well, but the idea and the
theory
design was
was
fantastic. This is the one that's set in an alternative 1960s, where everybody takes a drug to suppress their mood.
Right.
And everybody has to be joyful and content and happy, and they all have these painted white faces. And it looks incredible.
Okay.
The idea is you have to blend in with society, and that's quite a good idea in a game. Like, it's not a war game.
I do it every week. It's not hard.
Well, you say that, but they have all these different systems that people think. But also, somebody suspects you that it'll be like the Invasion Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland, where he's like, Donald Pleasance, where he's like, and they'll like point you out, and the police will come after you. And obviously, if you react badly, then obviously you're a downer, so they'll be after you. Mm-hmm. So you've got to kind of behave in a certain way while at the same time following the story. So it's hit Kickstarter. It will definitely. It's probably already hit its target at the time of writing this. It only just launched, but it's a marvellous looking game.
So if there's a link, we can see how they're getting it.
It's one of the very few games that I generally feel like a cosplay has as well, because you basically just dress in 1960s clothes and just paint your face.
Okay.
So
Right. Their goal is $250,000.
Right.
22 days to go. They are at $133,170,000 Canadian dollars.
Oh, so that's only like 50 quid, isn't it?
It's at $2 Canadian to the pound, approximately.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it?
So they want £125,000.
Yeah, which is not a lot.
No.
But, I mean, yeah, it seemed they had a playable alpha at Penny Arcade Expo. That if you donate, I think, $40, you get the alpha immediately. That's one of the stages. I can't remember which one.
So $8 or more, the beer tier, as they've called it very creatively. All pledges received at this tier will go towards developer sanity beers, the other tasty beverage. You will get backer updates and our thanks.
Right.
$25 or more. Early bird catches Jack tier. Finish game in all of its glory on PC, DRM free or on Steam. Cheaper for a limited time.
Yeah.
$30 or more, the downer tier, finish game in all of its glory on PC, DRM or on Steam. $40 or more, digital collection tier, finish game on PC, DRM free or on Steam, plus soundtrack, plus art book.
It's the next one.
And then the pre-alpha tier, all previous rewards, plus pre-alpha access to We Happy Few immediately after the campaign finishes. So in 22 days, 3 weeks.
Yep.
70 or more is the Shadow tier, all previous, plus digital collector's edition of Contrast, which you mentioned a few moments ago, including the game, soundtrack and art book, and delivery of Contrast collector's edition after the campaign finishes. 110 or more, the Goods tier, all previous, plus a backer t-shirt, choice of 2 colours and a poster. Please add Canadian $15 for international shipping. $150 or more, best mate, the Goods tier plus second copy of We Happy Few for a friend, which is quite cool in a way.
Yeah.
Includes digital soundtrack, art book, and pre-alpha access, which is, I don't know, quite nice to share the love like that.
Yeah.
$225 or more, the Librarian, which is the Goods tier plus coffee table art book hardcover, and obviously you have to add your shipping again there. $350, the Boxer, Goods tier plus signed We Happy Few collector's box, which is quite cool. Additional copy of the game, coffee table art book, soundtrack, Blu-ray of Uncle Jack shows.
Uncle Jack's the guy who
I was going to say, I assume this is, $400, the Vandal, Goods tier, plus create your own drawing, message or graffiti that we'll incorporate into the game world.
See, I always wish I was in a position to buy loads of these sort of things, because I would love to have an impact. And like this game, I've been looking forward to since the very first teaser. And if I had, like,
200 quid,
I would immediately be doing
They've limited that to 50 backers of that tier, the Vandal tier, which is quite good. And they've also done it the same for the Decorator, which 2 people have already taken up. It's $500 or more. The Goods tier plus a limited numbered and signed high quality concept art print by Whitney Clayton. You can choose between the Lady, who will be named later, or the Bobby. And again, they ship that over. $1,000 or more. Again, this is limited to 10 backers. It's called The Collector. Art transfer on canvas. Choose from one of the original paintings used to create the visual direction of the game, and we'll send you a unique piece, carefully transferred to oil on canvas, signed and dedicated by Whitney Clayton. So it's quite a unique collector's piece.
Yeah.
Even with a vague interest in this game, if you've randomly got £750 lying around, you're getting a pretty unique gaming collectible there.
I was just reading on the other side here. It goes, our story is destined not appropriate for children, unless your children are already reading Neil Gaiman novels, in which case, good on you. But don't worry, it's not all frowns and sadness, it's also laced with dark humour, hope, and hope redemption.
So, $2,500, part of the scenery, goods tier plus your face on a propaganda poster in the game, become part of Wellington Wells forever and ever. $5,000, limited to 3 people, a delightful voice of Welly. British accents only, so basically voice a character.
Yeah. And I love the fact it's British accents only.
Yep. Get coached by narrative director Alex Epstein and be in the game as a citizen.
That's the one I would have gone for.
Yep.
What's that one again? $3,000, was it?
5,000 Canadian, so
£2,500. If you want to make a donation via the PayPal link on our website, I will gladly put that towards this game and give it all of my because I do lots of really cool voices. So I would probably do. I'd probably do this one. Oi, what you doing over there then, eh?
And then you'll get sued by Fable.
All right. I think Fable. I think Lionhead maybe.
And no, the actual game. You've also got the ignominious end. There's also $5,000. Become immortalised in the history of Wellington Wells by having a scenario crafted about your own demise, plus a VIP invitation to the launch party. Travel not included. The last one. Hey, we've reached the bottom. Also $5,000. Uncle Jack's best mate. Send Uncle Jack a letter or drawing, and they showcase it on his show in the game. Plus the VIP invitation to the launch again. So yeah,
cool.
And again, that's also limited to 3 people. So there are some limited edition stuff, not cheap, but I like the oil painting.
Yeah,
that's a pretty unique collectible.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. And the game, I mean, as you scroll through, it's got a really cool vibe to it. It's like a 60s vibe. And they were saying that it's a stealth game, but it's not really a stealth game because you're not hiding in the shadows. You have to be in plain sight.
Yep.
You have to just blend in with everyone. And there are specific NPC characters who will know that you are not. So there's a doctor who can basically tell. And there's I think the lady character might be the one who just basically just goes, what are you doing there? Who are you? What are you? And just gets right up in your face. Of course, you don't react well. And they've got things like playing patty cake at certain times of the day and doing things at certain times. So you have to constantly be aware of what everybody's going to expect you to do if you're on this system. But yeah, everybody takes this drug, and if you don't take the drug, then essentially you're a downer and not a way. But yeah, it looks amazing, and it's hit Kickstarter. So if you are looking forward for a good game, you can do far worse. You've chopped one on there about our old friend Chris.
Yeah, Chris Avalon has left Obsidian. Now, obviously, he's part of Black Isle. Before Obsidian, they did Fallout New Vegas, Knights of the Republic 2, and he had quite a big hand in both of those. And they were 2 games which I rather enjoyed.
Yeah.
Also being part of Black Isle before that, he's got some history with the Fallout universe. So it's interesting to see what he does next. He's had a hand in 2 pretty big franchises.
There were a lot of people who said, he was basically almost begged to stay. A lot of people were saying, look, they know he wants him to go. He wasn't sacked. It wasn't like kind of long-term plan. It just suddenly, he announced he was leaving.
Yeah.
And he also stated quite clearly he's working on something, but he's not ready to say what it is. So that's, whatever it is that's pulling him away from an EA-funded company to do his own thing must be something special.
I think one of the first comments I saw was, I hope he's going to finish Van Buren. It's like, I don't think that's going to happen now, mate.
No.
Barking up the wrong tree. But I'm just curious to see what he moves on to, having had a hand in some big franchises like that and having a decent cachet within the industry now. His name carries a reasonable amount of weight.
Some of the comments I was reading were mostly praise actually for Knights of the Republic, and saying about how he managed to kind of create a game that sat in Star Wars canon, but also didn't pander to some of the ridiculous elements of canon. It was like, let's make a mature storyline that sticks exactly with what everything else has said, but at the same time kind of points out the hypocrisy of the and the other. And yet at the same time there are people who are going, yeah, well, good, another bloody pro-gay people in games. Get out of it. It's like, yeah, all right, mate. I'm sure he's going to suddenly stop making the games he wants to make just because he's not with that company. If anything, he'll now do whatever he wants. He might be making Big Gay Owl's Fun Ride game. You never know, do you? Right, big plate. This is all over you this week because you've been writing a massive article, haven't you?
I've started to write a massive article, yes. And by the time this podcast goes out, it should be on the blog.
Tomorrow morning?
Well, let's be honest. Are you going to get this edited by tomorrow morning?
I am a man of talent.
I repeat my question.
No.
Yeah. We asked people what they were looking forward to seeing at E3.
Right.
And there are a lot of answers. Or a lot of different things, quite varied, mostly from yourself.
Yeah.
You got very excited and sent me about 5 emails with different things.
Well, it's because I kept forgetting things. I sent the first one, I was like, I must just restrict this to a couple each. And I was like, and this, and it. Yeah, and that, actually, as well. And this, and that. Yeah.
So, a lot of them are quite predictable. You've got Fallout 4, obviously.
Mm.
We talked about that a bit last week. We've mentioned on the show this week.
Absolutely.
Halo 5. You yourself mentioned maybe new Gears game, or at least a Legacy collection, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, we know, obviously, because that guy leaked the gameplay footage
Yep.
while I was sitting in Barclays front foyer.
Yep.
I sent you a link to it, and he got immediately banned because at that point it hadn't even been officially announced,
Yep.
but they were playing the version of Gears 1. I think because we know that's coming, it would be a perfect time to say, here's what we're doing with Gears 1, here's our plans for Gears 2 and 3, and potentially also, what do you call it, Judgment. I don't think they're going to worry about Judgment too much. They'll probably just merge the Gears 3 relevant content into 3.
I wonder if that will end up being for Gears what ODST has been for the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
It'll be a DLC at some point.
Yeah. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they went, and here's number 4. You know, it's just to say, this is what it is. Have you added Facebook to the side there?
That's been there the whole time.
Has it really?
I did that ages ago.
I hadn't scrolled down that far, obviously.
So anyway, The Division was another popular one.
Mm.
A post from Gav mentioned this. Welsh Beck. I must admit, I've grown more and more curious about it as time has passed.
I've heard
The
about
flares
you
are looking
growing
for it.
curious.
Well, there we go. So The Division comes up. That's been pushed back to the first quarter of 2016.
Yeah.
But we had a gameplay trailer come at last year's E3, which will be posted as part of the article we've referred to. But I'm interested to see where that goes. Obviously, a little bit disappointed it's been pushed back. But on the same front, it gives me a
when
chance
this
to say
first
for it.
came out, when this first came out, there were a lot of people who immediately went, "There's no way it's coming out. There's no way that's going to finish on time," because Ubisoft like to take their time on some games. It's weird, like with franchises, they tend to kick them out as quick as possible. Like Assassin's Creed, obviously we've had one of those every year, sometimes 2 a year.
Yeah.
And they're chugging along with that absolutely fine. And then you get something like The Division where they had to get it right first time. They've learned from Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs was visually very impressive on the first run, and then it didn't run anything like the trailers, and everybody went, hoodwinked to the
Drop the
nest.
ball, yeah.
And it didn't quite live up to what it was, because everybody immediately compared it to GTA. With The Division, it seems a lot of people are saying, well, is this like Rainbow Six, The Last of Us? And if that's the case, it's going to be compared to both, so they need to make sure that, bear in mind, that's an incredibly good squad-based game and an incredibly good survival game. They need to get it right.
Yep.
And I don't mind waiting. Like, for a good game, as we said with Fallout, sometimes it's better to have a realistic outlook on it. And I think when you tease something, sometimes it is years ahead.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody sits there and goes, well, we know we're not going to finish this in 3 years. Well, of course, you want to finish it the next year, because commercially and financially, it's better to get it out sooner.
Yep.
But it doesn't always work out.
Speaking of teasing years ahead,
Right.
The Last Guardian has been mentioned by more than a couple of people.
Yeah.
And apparently, a couple of sites have said they have on good authority, we'll actually have some Last Guardian news.
I hope so.
Having not been seen since 2009.
It's either got to be, we're going to see something of it, or it's going to be announced. Finally, it's not going to be done. Because my concern with The Last Guardian, obviously coming from the team who made Ico and Shadow Colossus, it was built on PS3 hardware, and we're in the PS4 generation. I worry it's going to have the same impact on it that Duke Nukem Forever had, where it immediately felt dated because it had been designed in a different time. That said, the team are very, very good, and I have every faith in it being a beautiful and amazing game if it ever comes to light, and I really hope it does, because it would be lovely.
Yep.
But I just can't get excited for it, because I get excited every year and then I get let down. And I have seen news that people hear it's going to be there, and even then I'm like, no, it's not.
So we mentioned the rejig of Doom on last week's show. Interested to see what they do with that, because they just gave us that very simple 11-second teaser.
Yep.
Star Wars Battlefront, of course, is coming as well. A lot of people excited for that one, understandably. I did rather enjoy the Battlefront games on the old Xbox. So Mass Effect 4, I know you and I are both curious about. We don't know a lot at this point.
No, but they've never been quiet about it. I mean, they've talked about Mass Effect 4 since Mass Effect 3 came out. They've shown concept art for this.
Yep, and some stuff leaked online, but how true to it that was, we don't know.
If I was going to see anything at E3 for Mass Effect 4, what I would really like to see here is some was it Buzz Aldrin at the end of Mass Effect 3?
I think so, yeah.
Voice. I'd like to see him telling another story, and that be the start of this new Mass Effect game, because the little girl says, "Can you tell me more about the Shepherd?" He said, "No, you need time, plenty more time for later." Now, the Shepherd doesn't necessarily just mean a Shepherd, and while they've said it's not going to be Commander Shepherd in this one, doesn't necessarily mean there's not going to be an association, because that would be ridiculous.
Yep.
So I would quite like if it was Buzz Aldrin telling a story in a bedroom, and that was the start of it, and then it just pans up, and then you just see something flash across the sky. Yeah. That would be enough. As a start, that would be enough. I don't want to see a big 6-minute long CGI animation for a game that's not ready yet.
Yeah.
Like with Fallout, I was genuinely surprised because it was in-game footage.
Yeah.
Or in-game engine footage. That immediately led you to think, well, that's places we're going to go. Like, we're going to be able to go there. We're going to be able to do that. We're going to see it. We're going to get into the flying machines. We're going to see this. We're going to be able to do that.
And you've already had people working out the map and the scale.
Which I sent you, that amazing planning. Because and for people who've not seen it, it's well worth looking it up. If you just type in Google Fallout 4 locations revealed. They basically, using a map of Boston, they overlaid what
they know is there.
Worked out the scale of the map, which is a 1/4 scale, isn't it? And so they then worked out how big the overall map would be, working out from where the skylines were and where all these individuals were. The biggest thing that from all of that was the battery tower they were talking about.
MIT.
Well, the
tower.
But they're calling it the battery tower because it's got these generators things balanced on top.
But that's the top of the institute. Yeah, obviously at MIT in real life. So,
but it's visible in every single shot, and the logo has now got the electric light bulb, and there does seem to be there's a huge amount of electricity running through this area. So,
but there wasn't that always the thing with Fallout 4. As soon as it became apparent, even way back, that it was going to be Boston, it was like a terrible, worst kept secret in gaming. It was Boston. So instantaneously, the Fallout lore was rolled out. Well, that's where the Institute is, which in real life is MIT. In the game, as I said, it's the Institute, this massive centre of technology. So it was awesome to see it has this dominant effect on all these screenshots. It's in all of them, it's visible from everywhere. But at the same time, it wasn't a surprise to me that that has become almost like the hub of this game, because that's what it's going to be.
But then you say that,
and this is where maybe the Brotherhood still play into it, because it's like, we want the Institute.
From that trailer, though, none of it focused on that.
Because they don't want to give too much away.
We know that's going to be a big part of it, but then there's a lot of focus on Red Rocket energy. Your garage that you're in is a Red Rocket fuel station. There's electricity logo on the thing, so it does seem like maybe the storyline is going to be controlling the power as such. But either way, that was some phenomenal work from them people. I think they cracked it in 8 hours or something. It was just ridiculous what the internet can get to. Why we've not found a cure for cancer yet? They just need to get Reddit on it and it'll be sorted immediately. But
put a man on the moon, it can't make my shoes smell good. Figure it out. Rise of the Tomb Raider. Obviously, I'm quite excited about that one. I think you are as well. Fair to say.
Yeah. Has anybody said about the new Mirror's Edge?
Not really. No, actually,
I was surprised
at
that. Came out this week. That it's happening.
No one mentioned it.
It's subtitled. I was reading because you just reminded me of Tomb Raider because Rhianna Pratchett, who wrote Tomb Raider, wrote the comics and some of the storyline and the character development for Mirror's Edge, which is no great surprise because she generally writes really good games, and that was a really good game. But she was complaining and saying that actually this game's a complete reworking. It's like a retcon of everything.
Yeah.
And she's a bit annoyed because all the work that went in for this huge team putting it together is now going to be completely irrelevant. And not just Mirror's Edge, but Bonkers on Twitter, Mark Bentley, 111, has said that he's really hoping for a remake of Sam Fox's Strip Poker.
Yes.
Now, I thought about this long and hard. I think the only relevant person would be Kate Upton's Strip Poker. That would be a rousing success or an arousing failure, one or the other.
I think she's pretty much tied to Game of War now.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Beck said more Fallout and more about Division, obviously. I think.
Yep.
But he would really like something that makes you go, ooh.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
They'd like a new IP
Yeah.
to find its way in there. Just something that breaks up, I suppose, all the sequels and the tie-ins. I mean, even Mad Max is a new gaming IP, but it's inspired by the original film.
I mean, it's like Scalebound. I don't know if anybody said Scalebound. That was what I thought about after sending the other emails. Platinum Games making a game that's like Monster Hunter, but without all the boring bits of Monster Hunter.
I think the closest we've kind of got is Mike Biffle's new one, Volume.
Yeah.
And what's the other one coming out? No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, which is the game I'm
couple of people said
going to buy a PlayStation 4 for.
So,
of all the games that come out on PlayStation 4, the one I really want is a procedure-generated adventure game. But it's because it's from Hello Games, and I want them to have all of my money, basically.
I don't think you can buy the games, you can just give it to them.
Well,
They will take your $5.
Pretty much all of my money.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have something in return for all that money. But yeah, that was the one when we were talking about the news, and they said that if you travel across, it would take like 232 years to visit everything in the game, which is phenomenal.
It's quite a long time.
It's more time than I've got, unfortunately, because I'm going to be dead by then.
Yeah.
So, quite a lot of E3. I'm looking forward to those big surprise moments, like you were saying, new IP, but also, as we've seen in previous years, when Microsoft just announced the 360S. By lifting up a 360 console and going, there's a new Slimline one. Everyone's got one under your seat, like Oprah Winfrey, and they're in stores available tomorrow. Like that's unheard of to be able to ship a console without anybody knowing. But they did it last year. We had Sony say, if you turn your PlayStation 4 on now, you can download Battlefield Hardline to try right now. I mean, we're in an age where people complain that it's all downloads and digital, but actually, what it does mean is they can push content immediately to your device, and so I'm looking forward to saying maybe they'll go, right, Fable Legends is available now. It's been in beta for a while. They've been testing quite heavily every weekend for the last so many months. They could launch that right now. It's in a playable state.
I just want them to send me an Xbox One. I want it to be under my sofa when I watch it, and then I go, if you look under your sofa, Rob, whoo!
That would be
I'll find some old bits of Mr.
You
Potato
worry
Head.
I've got a screensaver of Gareth as a child. But you wouldn't worry that Don Captrick had just let himself into your house and lifted a jack.
I still think Don Matic letting himself into my house is less creepy than you having a picture of Gareth on your phone. Gareth as a child, no less.
Yeah, all right. Well, anyways,
with his eyes that seem to look right through.
He'd have right through you.
Right through
you. If you don't go to the local independent cinema, you won't know what that's a reference to.
Yeah.
Shame on you. Piss nice. Right through you. Love that.
Yeah.
Although they are wearing me down now, I hear them every day.
Yeah. They wore me down after about the third time of seeing them.
Do you know, in the foyer of the Lux.
Is there going to be a new one on for Jurassic World?
No, there's still only 3 at the moment.
Fuck's sake. Don't want to go and see it, do
Yes, you do.
I'm going to tweet Chris Pratt and go, sorry, Chris.
I
thought we could be friends, but this shitty Volkswagen.
I got a message from my boss it was yesterday, and he went, after the show in Lab AM tonight, I'm going to watch Jurassic World if anyone wants to join me. Just on his own, in his cinema. And I thought, yeah, I'd love that. And then I was
you always have to walk in the sun.
Well, no, it was like 11 o'clock at night. And then I started throwing up everywhere. And I was like, the world's not fair. I could see Jurassic World before it's actually released for free in a cinema with like 2 other people. It would be brilliant. But I'm hopefully going to get to see it tomorrow before my shift.
I'm going Sunday with Emma.
Oh, well, there you go. So all these... anyway, I was saying in the foyer, there's 3 postcards you can get. There's Taxi Driver, Jaws, and the other one that's on those adverts. What was it? Sons of Lambs.
Yep.
But the Jaws one, I never realised was Jaws. Because the postcards that were in the foyer were upside down. So it's a leg, right?
Yeah, I've seen them.
With the shark face around it and the tooth.
Yep.
Right? But because it was upside down, I thought it was Audition. Have you ever seen that, Takeshi Miike's Audition? No. Which is famously has a scene where somebody gets the back of their ankle sliced open.
Right.
And so there's where the tooth is, looks like a gap, and the shark's face looks like a Stanley knife.
Right.
So I thought it was Audition. I thought that was a bit edgy for a Cinema foyer.
Yeah.
I remember what it was.
Yeah.
Also, when you're at the Lux, go to the corner. There's a little reading corner.
Yep.
And there's a book in there called Film in 5 Minutes.
Right.
Or 50 seconds. So have a look at that book. You'll love it.
Did I not start reading that one day when we went to see something?
It's all about... It's like charades. So it breaks down films into component parts. And it it'll be like 3 and a little lady, it'll be like 3 men and then a tiny little lady.
Maybe not then. I read something in there, but I can't remember what it was.
It's worth a look at.
I will do.
Some of them are ridiculous. So Home Alone is an airplane taking off. No, it's a little boy with a bobble hat, airplane taking off, a crowbar, and airplane landing again. And I thought of all the things in Home Alone you could have used as an image, the crowbar was the main one. No, stupid. But other than that, the book's brilliant. Anyway, E3, lots of surprises. Thanks to everyone for getting in touch.
Yep.
And going through. Look for Rob's article. You can find that on lollicourse.co.uk, which we are updating more frequently all the time. While you're there, you can use our affiliate links as Amazon and Loot Crate.
Yep.
The affiliate links are helpful because obviously it gives us a small kickback and you don't have to pay a penny extra. And if you're going to spend money on Amazon, you might as well support your new favourite podcast.
Yes.
Or us. You can also click on the big envelope on the left-hand side of the page to email us.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you've got photos of yourself as children and you want to have them as my lock screen, you send me one of those. Not your children, you as a child. It would be weird if it's just somebody who's actually still a child on my phone. That would be odd. Reviews on iTunes, as always, or just tell a friend to listen.
Yep.
That's actually more so than the reviews. Get friends to listen because we quite like the idea that people hear it. It's nice to know that we've got a loyal little band of people who are willing to review it, but we would like to have a disloyal amount of people
Who just listen.
Yeah, who just listen casually on the train and don't feel obliged to write a review. That's also fine. We like that. You can tweet us for the show account at We Are the Lollicourse for letter R for Roberto. You can follow me at Bouncy
And you can follow me at Ron McGregor 35.
And of course you can find Dalek at The Voice of Sex. We will see you next week for episode 23. It is 23 next week, isn't it? I've not got the numbers mixed up again.
No.
Good, I am being careful this time. I haven't put a name for it this week because obviously I couldn't remember why I put the name for the last week's name for this week. And we'll be back.
I should imagine it'll be something like episode 23 E3.
Well, 23.
23.
That's what it'll be.
There you go.
You write that on before you leave tonight so I don't forget.
Right.
Also, there is a YouTube video of me, I meant to say, because you said do something with the YouTube channel.
Yeah, with that weird dildo thing hanging around at the top.
It was a microphone.
Oh, right. Oh.
Because the microphone on the Falcon doesn't work properly. Although, to be fair, the microphone I was using picked me up, but the laptop still managed to ruin the audio. That's what happens when you use the YouTube capture from your webcam app.
Yeah.
So from now on, they're going to be filmed on my iPad, which will have far better quality. So basically we'll be putting out stuff. What I'm hoping that both Rob and I will be able to do is perhaps do some live reaction, or not live reaction, but reactions to E3 via YouTube, which we can then bundle into a post each, and then next week's show we'll be discussing it. Because I think that's better than putting out loads of little podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, we get loads of extra downloads, but just a lot of effort of editing all together. And I can just talk to my phone.
Yeah. So this is what we said we'd probably look to do is we'd have our own little individual 60 seconds, 2 minute blurbs we'd put out, and then we'll pull it all together into a neat little package on the podcast as we normally would.
Yeah. I mean, we might.
So we have live reactions from each of us.
Yeah, we might use the audio from those videos in the show. Or cobble together 2 shows, one where we actually do a thing and one which is just the best of the videos. My intention is to do a video per game. So every game I'm excited about, I'll then do a short video about. So if people aren't interested in everything else, they'd have to listen to 10 minutes of me going, here's an umbrella, I'm going to put an umbrella up now on video. Do you know what? When I recorded that, I did think, you don't see this on Giant Bomb.
No.
Never seen another podcaster on video put an umbrella up in a house like that. Just so casually as well. Holding it there, just doing a little chat. Little chatty chat. Little chat, Rob. So yeah. So we'll be back next week. You'll have all had E3. Obviously keep tweeting us your favourite bits of E3 and we'll read those out on the show as well next week. And other than that, it just leaves me to say goodbye to you, to say thank you to you, Rob.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's nice to have you over. And we did get lots of favourable praise for your garden
Good.
recording.
That's
Apparently it sounds better in your garden than it does here.
Yeah.
Even with nature.
Yeah.
Unacceptable, frankly.
Yeah.
So the sooner we get a mixer sorted, the better.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you all later, people.
Bye.
Enjoy year 3. It's going to be crazy.